Buff Nation, what up? BWB, that's my bandwagon buffs. Welcome to TLP Sports Club. I'm your host, Harry Billion. You're watching TLP Live. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Um, it's spring ball time. It's springtime, and it's time for the Colorado Buffaloes to get going. They've gotten going, and now we're gonna dig deep into what they're doing. So, welcome everybody. If you are watching this live, I want to say thank you for joining me. If you're watching this after the live, if you're watching this on the stream, I want to say thank you for watching and supporting the channel. Please make sure to hit that like button, smash that subscribe button, and share it if you find value in this program. But this is TLP Live. We're going to be talking about Colorado, basically the spring football. All right. I want to say off the top, I finally had that tooth surgery, so my my gums is a little, my jaws is a little swollen. my, my face looked like I got beat up. All right, so my voice is gonna be a little slurred, but the show must go on. I can't stop the show because you know what I'm saying, because the situation that I'm in pain and stuff like that, we got to get the show rolling. But I'm gonna give it my best today on Monday Night Football. So welcome to TLP Live, Monday Night Football, during this time of the season where things are quiet, where there's not a lot going on in football. We're gonna be talking Monday Night Football. We're giving you an update on everything that's going on during the spring practices, stuff like that. All right. But guess what, guys? My plane just landed. I'm a little jet lag, even though I did not fly. I did drive. Just got off the road like a few minutes ago, coming from the DMV. So I'm a little rushed. All right, guys. So I just got in from the DMV. All right. I might share some images with you during the show, but I literally just got out the car, rushed to the studio. That's the beauty about having a studio. You know what I'm saying? You can just get in the studio, turn the lights on, and start the show. So here we go, guys. On Friday, we talked a little bit about the starters. We didn't go too much into details. On today's show, we're going to go into details. We're going to give you some details about who we think is really going to make an impact this spring and eventually start for the Colorado Buffaloes and make this thing, you know what I'm saying, what it needs to be, make this team what it needs to be. The identity of the team is already being established. Today's Monday. All right. It is 7:06 right now on the East Coast. So they've already had their first practice. All right. I believe they're how 2 or 3 hours either behind or in front of us. I guess they're on the West Coast. Okay. So whatever that means. I think are they behind us or in front of us? I can't remember. You know what I'm talking about. But they've already had their first spring practice. They had a few interviews, which I'm gonna play some so that we can talk about it. And then when I play these interviews, though, you guys are gonna have to turn your volumes up because the way that the mic works. Okay. All right. So let's just make sure that I got my settings right. Let's make sure I ain't got no audio issues. All right, so the audio is correct right here. Phil So Real, what's up with you? Hope all is well. Sorry, I'm gonna be slurring a little tonight because I just had that teeth surgery. Okay, both top and bottom, wisdom teeth. They're trying to mess with my wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Trying to slow me down. so anyways, we about to get it going. We about to get it going. Phil So Real says, I was trying to see who was in front of who in their lineup, still trying to learn numbers. Yeah, I mean, at this point, Johnny S. God, I hope you feel better, my friend. Well, yeah, man, the pain is there. I might have to, take that ibuprofen during the show because I think I got 1 more hour to take it. DC Cars and Music, what up with you? All right, so we're going to dig a little deeper today. We're digging a little deeper. We're going a little deeper. We're going to give you more analysis today. We tried our best, but I had to rush for that surgery on Friday. Um, I had to rush up out of here because I did have that surgery. But so now, but so we didn't give you that much details about the dudes that's going to be cooking this spring. The dudes that's going to be cooking this. I would say this year, 2024. We're going to give you a little bit more commentary, a little bit more details on why we chose or why we think who's going to start or the people that we think are going to, be the identity of Colorado football. We'll give you a little bit more details today. Because a lot of people, they know the players, but they don't really know the details, especially as detailed as we know it. All right, especially me, because I do a lot of research. I spend a lot of time researching these players, and really like going into details, understanding the players because that's my job. I'm like a Stephen A. Smith for Colorado football. So you know what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm like him, you know what I'm saying, because he's a little bit more seasoned than the brother. But so yeah, but let's get into it. Let me start you guys off with the get that we got. The get that we got on, I guess before the week was even up. Like, as soon as I got off the air on Friday at nighttime, we was like, boom, Sam Hart is here. We got another tight end. So let's talk about that a little bit. Let's talk about Sam Hart a little bit. Since we're live now, we talk about Sam Hart, and then, you know what I'm saying, we can dig a little deeper. All right, so former Ohio State tight end Sam Hart is transferring to Colorado. The skinny on Sam Hart. Sam Hart, he's a former 4-star from Colorado. He's right there. He's from right there in Colorado. So he's basically coming back home. He's a former 4-star, all right, 4-star from Colorado. Colorado's not putting out that many players. I ain't gonna hold you, but Colorado is not putting out that many players. So when you get a 4-star from Colorado, it means a lot. Okay, if you want to argue the point that, oh no, Colorado has some beasts, if that was the case, I would say Colorado would be, you know what I'm saying, either the Colorado State. There's a third team in Colorado, and then you got CU. Those teams will be full of Colorado players if Colorado was like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about the entire Colorado, being a football state where you get like dudes that are just straight monsters coming out every year. They have a nice high school, a couple of high schools there that churn out some players. If you've watched any of my videos, I've already went over a lot of those. I told you where some of these guys are from. But so I guess the argument is, I guess what I'm trying to say is when you get a forced, I'm trying to make an argument for Sam, all right? I'm trying to make an argument to let you know why Sam matters to our locker room. Sam matters because he's a former 4-star. He was the number 3 player coming out of Colorado when he came out of high school. And then he's coming out of Ohio State. He's transferring from Ohio State, and Ohio State matters when Ohio State is football royalty. For what I'm saying, like people who know football, they know Ohio State churns out some pretty good players. So that's what I'm saying. For him to come from Ohio State, for him to play, I believe that's the Big Ten. And then being the former number 3 player coming out of Colorado, being 4-star. He's 6'5". All right, guys, he is 6'5". So the argument that I'm making here is the fact that he can play. All right, he can play. He's 6'5", 4-star, former 4-star, number 3 player, former number 3 player coming out of Colorado. That's a decent get. All right. This is not like one of those, oh my gosh, we got one of the best players, you know what I'm saying? Because I did have an argument with somebody online on the community post about this. So I want to be very careful on, not everybody have the same type of understanding. All right. He's a good get because Colorado, CU doesn't have our tight end room. If you've been paying any attention to this channel, our tight end room, we got 2 solid tight ends. So we have three in a pot. We have two in a possible. All right, maybe three. I would say we have three in a possible. So when you have three in a possible, the possible would be the convert from the defensive side of the ball coming over to play tight end because apparently he played tight end in high school, and I guess he wasn't really going to get much playing time. Savell Smalls, I think that's his name, if I'm not mistaken. I guess he wasn't really going to be playing tight end. His defensive his position on the defense probably was getting crowded, and he felt like, you know what, let me try to get myself some playing time. I'll switch positions. So he's going over to tight end. So that's the possible. He's not a true tight end at the college. He doesn't have the experience at the college level, but he's going to try it out and see if he can if he can transition and help out the tight end room. That's the possible. So now we got Sam Hart. I believe we got Preston Hodge, if I'm not mistaken, tight end. You guys, hold me to it. You know what I'm saying? Don't hold me to it. I'm a little medicated. My CU knowledge is it's scarce right now because first of all, I just got out the car. I just said my plane just landed, all right, like 5 minutes ago, and I ran straight to the studio from the DMV. All right. So yeah, so Sam Hart is a good get because we were real thin in that tight end room. So the fact that now we're adding a 6'5" former 4-star player, that's a good thing. It's a good thing because he's a big old body. You see what I'm saying? He's tall, and the I would say the fact that he can possibly come in here and block, and who knows if he's gonna maybe he wins the starting position. We don't know, so we'll see what happens. But that's a big body. That's a good get. So we're looking forward to seeing what Sam Hart can offer to this team as we dig deeper into this spring schedule. So welcome to the Buff Nation. Sam Hart, if you are watching, salute to you. Welcome to Buff Nation. This is one of your premier channel for all things Buff, to learn about the team, the history. You can even go on the channel and watch some of the historical things about the Buffs, but you right there from Boulder, so you already know a lot about CU. So if you can go back and go learn the history, or you already know. But welcome to Buff Nation. This is the channel that you want to watch, because we ain't gonna play around with it. We're gonna tell you the truth. If you stink, we're gonna tell you you stink. If you're great, we're gonna tell you you're great. If you do anything good, we're gonna tell you did good. If you did something bad, we're gonna be like, yo, what you doing, bro? And then we're gonna big you up. All right. But we're not gonna give you no fluff on this channel. We're not gonna big you up if you're not worth being bigged up. All right. We're gonna tell you the truth, so you know when you come here, if you get a compliment from us around here, you know it's a genuine compliment. You know what time it is. If you're getting it from TRP Sports, you know you can hold on to that. Hold that. You understand what I'm saying? Hold that. Anything you get from here is going to be authentic, all right? We ain't one of them channels. Should I start crapping on channels? Yeah, we ain't one of them channels where we either way too up, we way too down. Now, we right there in the middle where you need to be at. You know what I'm saying? We centrist, where you need to be at. We tell you the truth when the truth need to be told. But this is our team. So, you know what I'm saying? We're not going to be dogging you any other way, just to be dog, just for the sake of saying, oh, we're dogging the players. We don't do that. But around here, we give you data. That's what we do. We give you the real data, and then we take it from there. We can talk greasy about how the data sways people's memories and sways people thinking and stuff like that. So welcome to TRP Sports Club. Welcome to Buff Nation. Sam Hart. So you guys, hopefully you've been seeing some of the interviews and stuff like that that the team has put out. Raise your hand if you've seen some of the interviews. All right. Let me see some emojis. Let me see some fire emojis if you've seen some of the interviews. You already seen some of the videos that Well Off Media put out. Like I said, I couldn't pay attention. Surgery on Friday, totally out of it. Run over to DC, and I just got back, so I've been out of the loop. So raise your hand if you've seen some of the interview, because I'm going to play some of them, then we're going to talk about it. Let me know if you've seen some of these interviews, because that's what we're about to talk about. And you know what I'm saying, just go over some of the things and then kind of give you an update on what I think, or what, if anybody wants to come on here, we can give you an update on who we think should be in these positions. But speaking of anybody coming on here, to get on the show, guys, is real simple. You email me. All right. I don't do anything with your email unless you want me to, unless you say, hey, Harry B, what up, man? I hope you're having a good day. Some people been hitting me up with some information like Prime Effect 101. Send me a great interview. Like, hey man, watch this video. This is some content. If you want to do stuff like that, this is how you communicate with me. But join TLP Live at gmail.com. It's real simple. Join TLP Live at gmail.com is the email. You email me, I send you a link, you come on the panel, and if you know what I'm saying, anything we're talking about, the only thing I ask is just keep it cordial, keep it clean. This is a family show. It's not a family show, but this is a clean show. You understand what I'm saying? It's a clean show with no cussing or nothing like that. And you gotta know something about what we're talking about. I don't want nobody to just come on here just be like, oh yeah, you're right. Oh nah, I don't know about that. You can't do that. Okay, you can't do that. You gotta come on here. You gotta know what you're talking about. If you're gonna come on here, if you don't know what you're talking about, just watch the show. Stay in the comment section, okay? If you understand what I'm saying, stay in the comment section if you can't articulate yourself or whatever points you want to make. We don't need no frivolous people here around here, okay? All right, so let's see. Let me set up the interview. Turn up your volumes. Turn up your volumes. Let me set up the interview and then we get it cracking, okay? We get it cracking. Put it on my screen. Join TLP Live at gmail.com. I'm going to be taking this off the screen, so please write the email down. If you know you want to come on the show, even if you decide you want to come on later, write the email down, guys. Excuse me, because I'm going to have to take it off the screen, okay? So go ahead, write it down, jot it down just for later. Even if you don't come on today, but you want to come on at a later time or a different show, like on a Friday, Free for All Fridays, you want to come on. Because we get a rocking on Free for All Friday. So write it down. I got to take it off the screen. Join TLP Live at gmail.com. All right. So the first interview that we're going to do, it looks like we got my guy, Jason Phillips. And this is going to be from Brian Howell. So, hold on. Let me see if anybody's already in the green room, ready to go. Excuse me, guys. If you've been waiting in the green room, I apologize. All right, so here we go. If you haven't seen the interviews, then this is your opportunity to watch it with me. Okay. Turn up your volumes, guys. I really don't know. Hold on, let me see. Maybe I can do this. I'll point the microphone to it so you can get a better audio. Hopefully that works.
Good afternoon, everyone. Jason Phillips, the wide receivers coach here.
Your first impressions of being here and then back with Coach Prime?
Actually, it's been a great experience. I've been with Coach Prime a long time. You know, obviously, you guys are aware he and I played together in Atlanta. We first met during the All-American tour. So I've been knowing him a long time, and I know his expectations. And it's just it's a breath of fresh air for me to be here as opposed to being on my couch like I was last season.
How is he different or similar as a
He's not. He's not. He demands excellence. He demands you to meet the expectations of.
All right, before I continue, I just want to ask you guys: Are you hearing the audio pretty good, pretty nicely? Just one person. Just gonna take one person to tell me, yeah, man, we good. Keep it going. So I got the microphone pointed at it. Just need one person, whoever's watching, just let me know. Yeah, we can hear it. Okay, it's all good. Thank you, Phil. Here we go. All right.
The standards that are set. He's a winner, obviously. Everywhere he's been, he's won. Every sport he's played, he's been a dominant force in it. So he hasn't changed at all, in my opinion. And it's good for these kids to get to understand what it takes to be champions and what it takes to be winners.
Obviously, you have a lot of talent returning in your room with Travis and Jimmy and Amari and some of the younger guys, but also bringing in some talented guys too. I mean, what's been kind of the mix for the wide receiver room throughout the offseason so far?
It's hard to tell because the guys that we recruited aren't here yet. But as far as, the guys that have been here last year, we've been hit with a little bit of injuries this past off season, so hadn't really had a chance to see Jimmy Horn yet. Travis obviously is pulling double duty at this point, but I'm sure he'll be a lot better than he was, last season as far as understanding what's required of him and what's expected. But it's a great opportunity for the other guys to get reps and to get an opportunity to get reps and to prove who they are and why they're here. So I'm looking forward to that. And coaching everybody in the room, that's the main thing, making sure that everybody's ready.
Coach, what have you seen from LaJohntay Lester so far?
Extremely quick, extremely knowledgeable, a veteran, a guy that, understands and read coverages well, and just an explosiveness. I mean, it's no secret as to what he did last season and why he's here, because he's an explosive player.
You mentioned physicality is going to be a key for your group, and what have you seen out of your group early on in that sense? And how do you pull that out of them?
Oh man, it's an expectation. Everything we do, the way we approach the field, how we take the field, how we run routes, is all physicality. It's not always about putting hands on people. It's a mindset, and we need to establish that mindset early, and we're going to be able to do that given the numbers shortage at the position. So we're going to see how mentally tough you are, because you're going to have to be in order to play this game at the level that we want you to play it and we expect you to play it. So physicality will be a big part of it.
Coach, what have been your first impressions of Omarion Miller?
I like Omarion Miller. I'm starting to fall in love with Omarion Miller. So we're in the dating stages right now. So
Okay,
it's just a
Omarion.
matter of,
I see
him
you.
continue to mature and be the player that we all expect him to be, and obviously be the player that he expects to be. And he's taking the right steps toward that.
Coach, just follow up. I recently talked to Tim White, Hamilton. Obviously, he's very complimentary. You talk about, you helped him coach him to his first 1,000-yard season. We talked about your commitment to excellence.
So I just want to let you guys know the reason why the audio is low is because from Brian Howell, it's recorded low on their end. So I have it cranked up as much as I can, but that's why it's low. It's not low for me. It's just low from their end.
Why is that why do you think that stood out about your coaching? Why is that important?
First of all, Tim White reached 1,000 yards and was an all CFL player due to him, his abilities, and just him being coachable. My job, as every job I've ever taken, is to come in and give guys my experience, my expertise, my knowledge. And if those guys can take that and help them to achieve their goals, then they'll be successful. So I appreciate Tim White for saying that, but trust me, I had nothing to do with that other than just being at the right place at the right time and him being coachable.
What is the plan with Travis as far as corner and receiver?
Travis will be Travis. That's the plan.
What's the plan? The question was, what is the plan with Travis? This is the question, the $1 million question that everybody keep asking. Are you guys gonna switch him up, or you're gonna keep him on both? Playing receiver and corner. So that's what he's answering now.
I'm getting to understand the plan as we go along, because obviously my first experience here, having a player like that, and then also being in a situation where he's being utilized the way he is. So I was under the understanding or impression this was his first day with defense. I'll get him on Wednesday, so I'll have a better understanding of how we're going to do this.
So you might wake up every day like, I might have Travis today.
As long as Travis show up in the building, we got Travis.
Like Coach Prime sets the standard. What does your standard look like in coaching?
Just be coachable, basically. Our guys be disciplined.
Basically, the question was, what is your standard, for these kids, for these young men? You know what I'm saying? So he's starting off with saying being coachable. He's pressing that. He said being coachable several times now. So that's a narrative.
Okay, be coachable, be disciplined, and like I mentioned earlier, just be physical. Come here every day wanting to do this, not having to do this, right? You got to change your mindset. It's got to be, I get to do this, not I have to do this. So those are the major things, just changing guys' mindsets and changing their perceptions of things. You can't come in here begrudgingly. You should not hit that door and not be ready to practice. You can't wait till you get to the practice field and then prepare to practice. You got to come in this building like we come in this building as coaches, ready to get it in. So that's just, the approach that I'll take with everything I do with these guys.
One last question for Coach. What have the offensive meetings been like with Coach Shurmur as you guys are just kind of preparing to install what he wants to run with this offense?
Interesting.
What has the offensive meetings been with Coach Shurmur and what he wants to run. This is the question that he's answering. Oh, his first word was interesting. All right.
Considering we're doing a lot of things that we took a lot of things from last season, from my understanding, and then obviously we're gelling it into, obviously his philosophy, and then we're adding some things that he's been successful with and doing in NFL. So my background is run and shoot, obviously, in air raid. So I'm learning a lot. That's why I use the term interesting, because now I'm learning a different system. So that's a little bit out of my wheelhouse, but when it comes down to receiver play, it all lines up.
Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome.
All right. So there you have it. That is the interview with Mr. Jason Phillips. He is the wide receivers coach. He's a former player with Coach Prime. They are familiar with each other. If you haven't seen the video that I made for who's Jason Phillips, you probably want to go check that video out. So that video tells you a lot about who this guy is, where he comes from. When I say where he comes from, his mindset, his way of thinking. Him and Coach Prime are on the same level of thinking. They're on the same wave of thinking. They're both old school guys. They think old school. They like old school values. They like to employ old school values because for some reason, over their years of coaching, and Mr. Phillips has been coaching for a while, and so has Coach Prime. Over their years of coaching, also over their years of playing the sport, they've learned. This time is confusing. I don't know. What do you mean? But anyway, so over their years of playing the game and coaching the game, they've learned that the old school values or the old school things that they learned to employ and that they employed to be as good as they were are still valid and are still relevant, even though the younger guys still have a younger mindset today. But the old school values and the old school ways that they play the game and the way that they coach the game are still valid. So they're still employing those things. And but some of the young guys are okay with that. They're fine with that. So when you hear being coachable, that's a mindset where forget about the NIL, forget about the fact that you are one of the best players coming out of your town, because obviously when you're at the D1 level, you're coming in to a fold or to the herd where there's a lot of players that are on that level. No, most D1 players are going to be 3-star, 4-star. I mean, obviously you're going to get your walk-ons, no stars or whatever, but at the D1 level, most people are going to be 3, 4, and 5 stars. So you're coming into a place where everybody is pretty much on the same level as you. So you got to be coachable. You got to come into this building and just put all that mindset away. You were the guy at your high school. You were the person at your, at wherever you went to high school, Florida, Georgia, Texas, Maryland, DC, from like Jordan Seaton, where I just came from, not 2 minutes ago, not 2 minutes ago, like 30 minutes ago, where I just came from. But you got to come in here. You got to lay down your guard. You got to put down. You got to forget about the fact that you were the man. Like you walk in the halls and all the girls are saying, "Jordan, hey Jordan, hey Seaton, what up?" All the girls want you now. You coming in here and like you're getting guys around you that got that same attitude, that got that same kind of love. They were the guy in their state. They were the guy in their town or at their high school. You see what I'm saying? So they ran their city just like you ran your city. So now you're all there, but you got to be coachable. And that's what these guys are all about. If you're coachable, they'll be able to give you the things that you need for you to be able to for you to be able to succeed at Colorado. Because Colorado, I feel like Coach Prime, it's not simple, but I feel like Coach Prime is trying to make it simpler. I feel like Coach Prime is trying to let these young men know, if you put in the time, you're going to get the results that you're looking for. So don't come in here with a big head. We want guys that want to be here. I would say NIL, be it NIL, whatever. Like, okay, we'll deal with the NIL situation. Number one, we want to make sure that the NIL is not your first mindset, because your mindset, we want guys that want to play football. Even if NIL comes up, we want guys that can play football. It's not just about the NIL. So that's important. And I wanted to make sure that I said that, because this is what Mr. Phillips talks about. If you watch that Jason Phillips video, he and Coach Prime think think the same way. They think alike. They want excellence. Like if you are around these guys, if you think lowly of yourself, you will not be able to stick around them. He's like they're like the type of guys where you can't necessarily think low of yourself when you are around them. And the players are going to benefit because at the end of the day, their expectations are high. They have a high expectations. I know the 4 and 8 doesn't really tell you the type of coaching that Coach Prime is. It doesn't really tell you the value that he holds. It doesn't really say that. But I guarantee you, these young men, they lock in. These young men really buy into the system that Coach Phillips, Coach Prime are trying to put out. You're going to see the type of football that I don't know if you want to call it video game type of numbers. You're going to see video game type of numbers. I trust it and I believe it wholeheartedly that the level at which they want to do it, they just need the young men to understand the mindset that they're trying to instill in order to get those numbers. One of the questions that they asked was about one of the guys, White. He got 1,000 yards, and he got 1,000 yards. But if you watch that Jason Phillips video, it'll tell you how that 1,000 yards happened, right? But he got 1,000 yards. But prior to all of that, he was with other coaches and never got that. He never got to his full potential until he got to this guy, until Jason got him. I know Jason was trying to be modest when he was answering the questions, which is cool. You know what I'm saying? You can be modest. That's a good thing because you got people around here who don't want nobody to be boastful. They don't want Prime to be Prime. They want you to be humpback. Yes, sir. No, sir. You know what I'm saying? So take the modest approach so you can win those people over. You don't have to be modest. Be like, yeah, if you're coachable, I can give you the tools that you need for you to get 1,000 yards. But you got to be coachable. He could have taken that approach as well. But you don't get as much love. You're not going to get as much because people want you to be fake humble. Okay. So I understand it. I like the fact that he's taking that approach, but the guy that you're looking at, make no mistake, this ain't no regular coach. I'm going to tell you that straight up. Forget about the fact that he was on his couch last season. This is not no regular coach. This guy already coached with Coach Prime at Jackson State. Okay. But his resume is crazy. And his playing days and his mentality is crazy. And I'm going to tell you, if these guys buy into his system, it's going to be something special to see. That's why I wanted to play that interview so that you can understand, like, this is special. This ain't going to be no cake. It ain't going to be no, people saying all that crazy stuff. Colorado ain't going to do this. Colorado ain't going to do it. Just keep watching. Like, if you don't understand what's going on about Colorado football, leave it to guys like myself and other guys that invest a lot of time, because this is our full-time job. This is my full-time job. I can't speak for every channel, but I invest a lot of time studying these guys. I read the stuff about them. I go watch the tapes and stuff. The videos that I don't make, the stuff that I know about these guys, when I come on here, because I want to be responsible. I want to be one of the voices that you can trust. So if I tell you something on this channel, I want you to be able to trust me and say, I know Harry B don't be trying to blow no smoke. You know what I'm saying? And I do admit last year I was a little bit green. I was excited trying to get this team up and going. So I was like, I was part of the hype machine. Now I'm still hyping the team up when it's necessary, but I want you to get information or data from here that's going to let you know what this team is capable of doing. I did that same thing last year, even though the numbers did not support everything that I said. But for the most part, I was right on almost everything I said. I was right. And even the numbers that we got were not indicative of the team that we had. It didn't support the data didn't support the low numbers. The data should have been flipped the other way around. The numbers should have been flipped the other way around, like 8-4. That's what it should have been flipped up. But there was some, like I said, like I always tell you, existential circumstances, things that were out of their control. You know what I'm saying? That happened while the number was not flipped around to make me right. Because I like to be right sometimes. I like to be right all the time. Good afternoon, Philip Peter, investor, the tennis channel. What up, guys? All right, so let's see here. Bro, what a team can do on paper doesn't mean you will or will not win. I think you're missing the point. That is definitely not the point here. It's well, Vegas don't do their calculations, or they're not. There's a reason why Vegas does the what they do. They're doing those numbers based upon some specific data. The data is, if the data says this can happen, you can trust the data for the most part. There are certain things that will happen in between the data that you can't calculate. There's no way you can count heart. Second year guys are always different. Like I would tell you, Dylan Edwards. Oh, I'm starting to get that. I'm starting to get the pain, guys. Whew. Oh boy. The more I talk, the more I hurt. But I gotta keep going. So Dylan Edwards gained 12 pounds. So the way that you will judge Dylan Edwards, you'll judge Dylan Edwards based on what he did last year. What you're not thinking about is the changes that are happening in Dylan Edwards. He was a freshman. This kid was coming from high school. So you got to think about the fact that he's coming from high school, and he comes from high school, but in hold on, guys, give me 1 second. So coming from high school, you're young. There's a lot of things going on in your life, but you come into this college situation, and you may not have the confidence at the D1 level. But Dylan Edwards comes up and he does a lot of great things. People are still judging him based on the fact that he could not block, based on the fact that, you know what I'm saying, he was small and he wasn't as strong. So the way that people are going to judge how the performance that he has, they keep saying Dylan Edwards can't block. Dylan Edwards can't block. But I submit to you that with muscle now, with more experience at the D1 level, having been hit at the D1 level, knowing the kind of speed and the kind of power that the D1 level has, now you're coming into this situation understanding, okay, so now I know what to do. And then you go and you put on more muscle and you're adding muscle also. You cannot, if you're Vegas, you're going to say, well, based on last year's numbers, he couldn't block, he couldn't do X, right? So you're going to say, okay, he's a good back, but he's not going to be that great. You're going to base it off last year's numbers. That at that moment, the data is not supporting that. You see what I'm saying? The person that is going to go and say, okay, well, but look what he did last year. I'm going to say, that's where you're not paying attention again, because I got TCU right. I got the first 3 games right. I told everybody, you're not paying attention. You got to pay attention to Chandler Morris. You got to pay attention to Max Duggan. Max Duggan was a unicorn. He was the second string quarterback that came in, and he lost. And when Chandler lost his start, when he got hurt playing CU, Max Duggan steps in, takes his team to an undefeated season. That's not normal. So Max Duggan leaves, Chandler's back. We beat Chandler. I kept saying it the entire season. Pay attention. Chandler's not that dude. Nobody will pay attention. Oh, TCU just went to the national championship game. Even though they lost, they're gonna smoke CU. They're gonna mollywop y'all. Blah 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 blah. I'm looking at it and I go back to the data. I said, let me really look at this and see what these people are talking about. I go back, I watch the tape. I go back, I do some more reading. Mindset. What is he thinking? How? What happened to his mentality when he lost his job? All of these things. He lost his girlfriend. He lost his girlfriend. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm like, okay, this dude is not that dude. From that information, I made up my mind. I said Colorado's going to beat TCU. And then from there on, I just kept pressing that. So when I said data, that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm saying. All right. I want you to know that that's what I'm saying. So that you understand, like, okay, the there's data that Vegas is not going to look at. You got to come to people like me. Come to me, not people like me. Come to me, and I will give you information that you can make up your own mind. You can say, all right, Harry, I see what you're saying. It makes sense and it doesn't make sense. We argue here all the time. You know what I'm saying? But I know how to support the things that I'm saying. All right. I know how to support those things. I don't necessarily have to it's not like I don't know how to say or how to support the idea that I have. I can do that, but I can tell you that it's based in reality. It's not unrealistic to say, pause, my friend. The scrawny little high school excuse me. It's plausible to say, or it makes sense to say, right? The scrawny little high school kid that you're judging based on his last year's number, you're not taking into consideration the changes that has happened. That's not crazy or delusional at all. That's actually rational to say, okay, yeah, maybe he did make some changes, and those changes are going to show up on that field. You think the changes just happen in everybody else on every other team? The freshmen get older, they get more experience. They're not going to do, even though I'm harder, Cormani McLean, you think Cormani McLean is the same player that's going to be on that field? He's not. Like, he's going to improve. So you got to consider that. I don't know how much Vegas considers that or what percentage of their number that they give out. They you know what I'm saying? They associate that with you know, with the team, with the growth of the individuals on the team. I don't know that. But I know that I consider it here. So when I give you information, I want to make sure that everybody understands why I'm giving the information. I'm sending out the invitations. Guys, let me know if you're getting the invitations or if you're not getting it, because I don't see nobody in the green room. I just want to make sure that I'm not missing something, because like I'm not 100%, guys. I'm really like 45% right tonight. I'm trying not to talk too loud or too fast because I'm starting to feel pain. All right, so let's see. Sorry, Harry. It's hard to overcome bad coaching if you don't have top talent. That's what scares me this year, not the talent. How can I address that? I see what you're saying, and I know why you're saying it. I'm with you on that. There was a lot of bad decisions, but I want you to understand that at the end of the day, adjustments are made. Things change all the time. I don't know that. Like Alfaru, I want to. I'll send you the link. So come on if you can, because I want to have a conversation. I want you to be able to. I don't want to get you stuck in the chat, because if I say something, I want you to have the opportunity to respond back and let me know your thinking, because we do that here, so that's good. But I want to ask you, like, do you like, is it rational to think that there's no changes in coaching? Like the coaches are not making no adjustments in their own strategies. They're not making no headway on their learning. They're not going to consider the mistakes that they made last year and make any adjustments. You evaluate, or how do you evaluate talent from year to year? And if you are evaluating the talent, are you evaluating the coaching? Or do you just say, well, this coach is not coachable, he's not learnable, he's not studious. I think he's too big-headed. He's not going to go back to the room. He's not going to go back and study. Are you thinking that, or do you think that there's going to be growth there's going to be some upward migration of the coaching that's going to happen. Do you believe in somebody like a Jason Phillips, that he has the experience that's necessary to take these young men to that next level? Like, do you believe that? So let's start off with the tennis channel, and then if you guys come on, when you get an opportunity, because I want you to talk, I want you to articulate your point. Tennis channel, welcome to the show, man. Thank you for coming. I appreciate you.
Hey, Harry, how you doing, man?
All is well, man. All is well. Did you have an issue with the link? Because I've sent out the link to a couple of guys that haven't come on yet.
No. I got it right away, and I clicked right away when you said it. So
Okay.
I sent my thing out early.
Okay. So all right. So, but what do you think about the coaching staff? Do you what Alfred just said? Harry, it's hard to overcome bad coaching if you don't have top talent. That's what scares me this year, not the talent. So what do you think about Alfred saying bad coaching is what's really, bugging him, that we might revert back to bad coaching? We got the talent now, but he's still concerned about bad coaching. What do you say about that? Or what are your thoughts on that?
Personally, man, I'm a coach. I'm a tennis coach. I coach basketball and I coach tennis.
Okay.
And remember what I said when we first met, that players play, coaches coach. Coaches coach and players play. The problem, what a lot of people don't see, and they're always blaming the coaches. We always get the brunt of it. And a lot of it has to do with execution. I could tell a player or give him good instructions. He can be talented, or if he's a talented player, he's going to receive it right away. He'll be able to exercise that under pressure, whatever instructions I give him, and to execute the play. See, when guys are out there playing, coaches can't execute the play. The player has to do it. So I think a lot of times we have a little bias against the coach. Well, the coach is in charge. A child messed up. What's the first thing you do? Well, who was the parent? Well, maybe the parent didn't do anything wrong. Maybe that child just didn't get it. Okay? So a lot of times, particularly when it comes to football, and I'm pretty sure Peru, when he played sports, he knew if he didn't exercise the play, he can't go back and say, he's not going to say anything. He's just going to look at the coach, and the coach going to look at him and say, well, you didn't execute. Here's what you needed to do. So I would say that pretty much I'm going to take the pressure off the coaches since I am a coach. And I'm going to say, if I have a player that's not executing, that's not my fault. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, who gets the blame? The coach does. But if I got players in there that are not executing, and that's why I hear a lot of guys, I listen. And so I don't always agree with, it's the coach, it's the coach, it's the coach. Well, personally, you don't know the coach, really. You don't even know the player personally, really. And so we can only assume that, look, either if we trust the coach, and I'm going to just take all the pressures off the coach. We trust the coaches, well, fine. But let's look at what the players aren't doing. Maybe there's some players out there that just not executing. One example, I'm going to give it to you and I'm finished. One example. I watched Prime today when when they had the meeting today. Guess what happened? A cell phone went off. Now, was that coaching or was that the player? And you on the side, on the wall coming into the meeting, you've got no cell phones. Then they got it somewhere else, no cell phones in the meetings at all. But yeah, one of our smart players, I'm going to call him a smart player, had a cell phone and it goes off. Prime said, get out here. I don't want to see you till Wednesday. We're talking about execution. That's on the players.
All right. Let me bring on Old School so he can give us his thoughts on that. Old School, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling. I appreciate you. Welcome.
Hey, thank you, Harry. Hey, Harry, I'm gonna tell you something. I tried for 30 minutes, But I realized that you got my link when you said that when you had mentioned to the channel that you had sent out some more links. So I said, well, let me go back and check and see if he sent me one. And I sent you that you had sent me one. I'm telling you, Harry, it's hard for you to the channel. I don't know how you got it so fast. But my IQ wasn't like that, Harry. I'm gonna tell you, Harry, this goes with the conversation too. It's like when I started, I'm 65 years, I'll be 65 this month. When I started playing the sports, I started like 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I had to pick which one I had to come back. Football wasn't that. I got tackled and I didn't even have the ball. And I asked the referee, why could he do it? Don't he get in trouble for doing that? And the referee said no. I said, I took the helmet and I threw it down. And that was in the 8th grade. In the 7th going to the 8th grade. And I told I ain't playing no more football. And I was like 6 foot going on, get big anyway. So I said, well, let me try baseball. So I tried baseball. I had a regular glove. The ball got knocked in the air and I was going to catch it. But the ball knocked me in my head and put a dot in there for a long time. And I said, that cut out baseball. Well, I was just playing around and just kicking the ball around and said, what am I going to do? And I found the basketball and I started picking it up and went to that basketball court. And I grew and grew and grew and got good at it. Boy, but them other sports, I couldn't get at it. I couldn't catch it, Harry. I just couldn't catch it.
Tie it in with what's on the board right now. Tie it in and bring it together so we can get it. What's the point?
Well, it goes right back to the point of this. You talked about the tight end. I understand about the tight end, and then I wanted to talk about Coach Phillips too, because I liked him when he was at Jackson State. So I really would want to stick to the program. Yeah, but that tight end, I think that tight end is going to come in handy. The tight end from coming from Ohio State. And the one he used to play.
So hold that thought. Don't talk about the tight end yet, because we have something on the floor, and Al-Farouq is back to. I want him to be able to articulate what he was saying, because I want to know what he's trying to say. So Al-Farouq, welcome to the show. Thank you for calling in. I appreciate you, brother. You might have to unmute. Al-Farouq, I think you're muted right now. So whenever you're ready, just unmute. But this is the idea. He was he had a old school. He had a comment. He said that his most concern was about.
Y'all? My bad.
Oh, he was saying that his concern was about coaching. So go ahead, Al-Farouq. What are you thinking on that? What do you think about what I said? Based on the coaches' development, because I think coaches can develop as well as the players.
No, that's true. That's why I said that's my biggest concern. It wasn't the talent; it was the coaching. I think that's why they lost games last year. I thought they had enough talent to go 7-5, maybe even 8-4.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw a lot of games where they lost the game because bad coaching. I don't know if they have better coaches now. There's no way to know it. I don't know if Livingston's a better coach than the guys that's been a D coordinator and now. I don't know if the O-line coach is a better O-line coach than the guy that just went to a Big Ten team that's been coaching for years. I don't know if Schumer's better than the Schumer I saw last year. I don't know. He was there the whole year. He was creating the same offense. He was one of the analysts. He came up with the game plan. He might not have been the OC early in the year, but he agreed on that game plan. I don't know. Coach Prime, same coach, same stuff. I don't know. That's why I'm saying I'm concerned about that, not the talent. Because if you tell me, I think the season's going to be tougher. So even whatever talent we brought in, I think this is going to be a tougher season than last year. And we got question marks. I think the tackles are a question mark. You got a freshman that you're relying on. You got a lot of positions. If you lose one guy, it messes you up. We don't have depth. If we lose a tackle, we got a problem. If we lose a D tackle,
we don't have depth in general. We don't have depth at the tackle. What do you
in saying? In a couple of positions, not every position. We have a ton of receivers. We have a ton of DBs. We have a ton of safeties. But if the quarterback goes down, which is any school, some schools can kind of handle it if the quarterback goes down, but it'll be detrimental. If one of the O-linemen go down, it'll be detrimental. If one of the linebackers go down, it'll be detrimental. If one of the special teams players have an issue, it'll be detrimental. That's what I'm saying. I'm not.
So how is that the coach's responsibility, though?
No. Wait, hold up. You totally disregarded what I said before that. I said the coaching earlier, and then I came back to the depth. So I said,
Mhm.
I'm concerned about the coaching more than anything, especially when we do have a depth issue in a couple of key positions. That's it. Not saying it's going to be good, not saying it's going to be bad. That's my concern. It has nothing to do with the talent. Hell, you could bring in some more people, but if they still don't run the ball, if they still know how to call a game and manage the game, there's still going to be problems.
Right.
That's
So
all
let
I'm
me ask you
saying.
a question. So the question that I have for you was, do you think that the coaches that stayed, that are currently there, do you think that they improved their thinking and their game plan, or even their ability to coach? Do you think they improved?
Honestly, I don't know. I don't know. And that's why I'm saying, anytime you do an analysis, you got to deal with the factors that you know. I can't deal with factors that I don't know. I would hope so, but I'm not going to bet my house on it. There's a couple of things I know.
Mhm.
I know Shador is a monster. I can bet on that. I know Travis is a monster. I can bet on that. I could bet on a lot of airplay. I can bet on that, meaning be on TV to some degree. All the rest of the stuff, everything else, it's a question mark. BJ Green, I would love for him to come out here and be Lawrence Taylor. But if he turns out to be Terry Taylor, Terry Taylor, then I wouldn't be surprised because he showed that on film. The reality is what you show me on film is more than likely what you're gonna do. I can't go off of we're in Colorado now. Don't do that. You can't recruit like that. When you look at the film, you recruit a kid that fits your system. If that's what fits your system, then you gotta be happy. If he gives you the same thing they did last year, walking on the field, yeah, he got some sacks. If he gives you the exact same thing, you just gotta be happy and just be like, cool, that's what we wanted. Thank you for giving me sacks, but we didn't win any games. Arizona didn't win any games. They didn't win any games. They didn't. That's the fact. They didn't win any games.
Arizona didn't win any games.
Arizona State did not win any games last year.
Oh, Arizona State.
I
Yes,
got a
the team
question.
he came from.
I got a question for Anaru. Alpha Ru. I'm sorry, Anaru.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
I got a player called name Anaru. So if yours is Alpha Ru.
I got you.
Have you coached before? Or are you coaching right now?
Absolutely. I have coached before on all levels.
Okay.
I've coached before as a minority coach. I was going to go into the minority coaching program in NFL. I was an analyst in college, coached high school, and I've even coached all the way down to kind of help out in Pop Warner. Yes.
So
In middle school. I'm sorry. In middle school.
So you're familiar with talent, with analyzing talent, and
Mhm.
analyzing players. What players
Yep.
goes here? What players goes well? Who's going to be receptive to your teaching when you're giving
Correct.
instructions? You pretty much have an idea, right?
Correct.
Now, and so, how many times have you gone out there to maybe coach a player or teach a player? But he's the only player you got pretty much, but you know you got to put him in there, knowing that this player may or may not get it. Let's just say he won't get it. How much pressure do you feel, or did you feel as a coach that maybe, well, maybe I didn't do a good job, or maybe I'm not coaching well, or maybe you say, well, have I, did my best to coach this guy and he just don't get it, but I got to put him in, knowing that, okay, if nobody knows that player, they're gonna look at you and say, damn, who's this coach?
No, you are absolutely correct. So I tell kids all the time, is my job to teach you how to do it. It's your job to know what to do. That's it. So I totally agree with you. I totally agree
Yes,
with you.
sir.
But there are some things that have nothing to do with the player. There are some things that have nothing to do with the player. And everything that everybody complains about when it comes to CU fans, most of it had nothing to do with players. Yeah, we might have somebody talk about the O-line. I got it. I get it. Boom. It is what it is. But there were games, for example, 12 men on the field have nothing to do with the players that lost
Okay,
games. Personal fouls at the end of the game that got a first
Wait, hold
down.
up.
We end up winning the game.
That could be player too, because if you look
No,
at
no,
it, if the coach
Terry,
says,
it
"Hey,
happened.
this is
It happened
the
6
package
times.
we're going, this is the package we're going with, this is the lineup we're going with," but then some dingo head is sitting over there
Okay,
not
okay,
thinking about it. You know what I'm saying?
okay.
And he's not ready to go in when they say, "Okay, to blow the whistle."
No,
He's not. He
no, that's
doesn't
not
know
what
what's
happened.
going to happen.
But that's not what I got the narrative. That's not what happened. Who did the coaches cuts out? They cut each other out. They did not cut the players out. They cut each other out. So you know it wasn't a player that did it. It was a coach that
okay.
put him out there. We know that. So then whatever narrative, I got you. I feel you. And I'm not even here to hate. I'm just trying
No,
to give you
no,
guys
no. I'm
a
saying,
perspective that's real.
I'm saying, just the way
So
that you
so
phrased it, it could
how many
happen.
times did it happen? Okay, how many times did it happen last year? I'm gonna tell you this. I see 12 men on the field for a team maybe once every 2 years. They had it 6 times this year.
I
That's
think they
not
had it
something
like
that's
2 or 3 times back to
in one
back in like
game.
one game.
In
Yeah,
one game. Yeah, so
yeah.
that ain't got nothing to do with it. What about any time in the NFL they talk about coaching and discipline? What about all the penalties? All of that stuff.
But you know, some of
You
those.
either accepting it. Hold up. You either accepting it or you're coaching it. That's a phrase you hear all the time. You're either accepting it or you're coaching it. So one of those two, when your team is undisciplined like that, Oakland Raiders for years.
So hello, are you still there?
There you go.
I'm saying, guys, some of this stuff is either you're teaching it or you're accepting it. So okay, let's go back to Stanford. So
But
what? We can't run the ball.
before you go to Stanford, let me say this. Let me push back just a little bit because it's not necessarily a pushback. It's just like a commentary, basically. It's to
Okay.
say I accept the mistakes, right? Like you can
Correct.
accept the good and the bad. It's not. I don't know that anybody is saying that the coaches are perfect or should be perfect. The coaches are going to make mistakes,
Correct.
but so we accept a few mistakes here and there.
Okay.
Now we can count. I would say we can count on our hands how many times we can say, okay, that was a coaching call. That was a coaching decision.
No,
Now,
it's
I mean,
more
if
than
you
that. I got
so
more
you
than that
think
in one game. I
okay,
got
so you
more than
got
that in
more
one
than that.
game.
Okay,
Yeah. I got way more than
all
that.
right.
From even taking the ball in overtime. I
Okay.
mean,
Well,
we can keep going. I can go through each
let me.
game. I can go through each game and show you 2 or 3 plays that had nothing to do with the players. That had everything to do with the coach.
Harry,
But then, if
let
that's the case, and Harry, if that's the case, you look at it like this. Okay, I remember when you was watching that Indiana game. Indiana made more stupid mistakes than we did, and
Indiana, what are you talking about?
they're supposed to have a genius for a coach.
hey,
Indiana, what are you talking about?
Well,
hey,
not
Indiana.
Indiana. I apologize. Not Indiana. What's the name? The guys with the red on. That's what got me from Nebraska.
Oh, you talking about the fumbles? You talking about fumbles?
But more mistakes, even stupid mistakes. Too many men on the field. All these yellow flags that was popping up all the time during the beginning of the season.
Wait a minute. Well,
Especially
okay,
all
time out.
a lot of the
A
teams make
holding.
those kind of mistakes. So
Hold
you
up, old school. Old
those
school. You
players,
guys are mixing.
you have to you
I
have to
don't even
really
know
know.
why you fight me on this. Okay, this is the problem. What I'm saying is very factual. It's not hate. It's like factual football. Even
Right,
if you're not, you told me you're a basketball player.
right.
Even if you're not a football fan, there are some things we all can agree on that should not have gone on. So for you to argue with me about very basic concepts, I don't understand why that is.
That's
There's
your
no
argument.
argument. You can
Your
easily hold on.
argument
You
basic
can easily
concept.
say, you know what, you're right. I can see that, and I might have that concern too. But to totally disregard the idea that there may be a coaching problem, which was last year,
Now,
and did we
because
fix it? We don't know that. We don't know
okay,
that.
now, Alpha, now listen to me. I never said either or because the reason why what I'm saying is right now, I already knew what the problem was. It was the problem was with the coaches and it was with the players because the players really didn't have anything going with their talent and stuff anyway. To a
I
certain
got you.
extent, they was under talented. It was like to a certain extent the whole thing was new to them. It's like they never were, they never been in that position before. And they
True.
try to show that, even though on the offensive line, especially on the defensive line, all that showed. But this is a new this system right here. These regime right here is a new regime, and then when it come down to it, Coach Prime made his big changes on the coordinators, the offensive coordinator and the defensive coordinator. They're brand
Correct.
and they're coming in with their schemes, and they're coming in with the schemes that are running enough time for these guys to catch on. But for you to sit up here and keep on going past on what happened last year, bring it to this year,
No,
a whole new different thing. So that's not important. So
that's the
that
point.
right there don't even add up.
Old
Go
school,
ahead.
old school. So what was my statement? Give me my original statement. If you can go back to the original statement, that everything you just said exactly says what I just said. What was my original statement? What did I say?
Your original statement was it was the coach's fault.
No, that's not what I said. Not what I
Okay.
said. I said, this is what I said. I said, I felt that last year there was a coaching problem, and I didn't think it was all about talent. Even though I believe we have talent, I don't know, and that's why I'm scared because I don't know if the coaching changes were positive. I don't know that.
Okay.
I
Here's
don't know.
here's
And there's no
here's
way for
what
you to know. There's no way
here's,
for you to know.
Right.
here's where
I
I
agree.
would
I
agree.
agree.
Here's where I would agree with you on that. When I understand I understand exactly what you're saying. Okay, they have such thing, and you know about that. You got a game plan. In the game plan, everybody understands and knows what their responsibilities are or should be. If you don't, you ask somebody. And so what you were saying, the examples you used were exactly true. I mean, there's no way you're gonna have 12 men on the field twice. So that was a breakdown in the communications between the coaches, which says that we have a coaching problem here. Either the coach is not getting along or they're moving people in and out of there. You're in the heat of a game, things are happening fast, happening just like that. And so I can see where the confusion would be, or not necessarily on the players' part, but on the coaching part. And so I agree in that respect because you got some good we had some good coaches last year. We had some pretty good coaches.
I got a question.
Yeah, I agree. That's what I'm saying. I totally
I got
agree.
a question. I got
I
a
totally
question.
agree.
Are we saying that the mistakes that were made by the coaches was so egregious that they cannot be redeemed this year? Are we even on that line that okay, is that even
No,
a
they
question
can be.
at this point?
They can be. But what I'm saying is the coaching decisions were so egregious that we still lost games regardless of talent. So we're both saying the same thing. I'm just wording it differently. I
Okay.
agree. Those egregious changes could be made. Do I know? I don't know. But what I am saying is the coaching decisions last year across the board were so egregious, they ended up
Okay.
a losing team when they shouldn't have been a losing team last year. I don't care what they had on the
Okay.
field.
So
I,
how
What
I,
about
about the
that?
talent deficiency?
I agree with that.
So we're good.
Also,
We're good. We're
yeah,
good.
you know, it's just that in football you got you got a lot of coaches and a lot of stuff going on. Harry, you made me forget what I wanted to say. I wanted to finish out, but that's okay.
But I mean,
Uh,
I didn't want to beat the whole coaching thing to
right,
death
right,
because I
right.
wanted to get to the bottom of where it was coming from so that we all understand. Like he's not trying to say, hey, if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know that the coaching got better, you don't know. I'm along the lines with saying there were mistakes that were made, and I will calculate I will actually categorize some of those mistakes as circumstantial mistakes as well. Circumstantial mistakes meaning that the you were dealing with stuff that was just like it was just crazy because guys were playing in positions that they had no business playing in. All right, we were switching things up, and guys were not 100% on the playbook. You know, the playbook was so. I feel like the playbook was a little complicated for some of these guys, and a lot of these guys were not 100%. So it feels like that's why I say I can categorize some of these mistakes as circumstantial mistakes, but at what percentage that may have cost us game, I can't say. But
So can I ask you something? Can I ask you something, Harry?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so
Wild Dog, what up? Prime
looking.
Effect
Okay,
101, what up with you? Welcome
okay,
everybody. KMS, what up?
and I'll be done after this. And this is just I like this conversation. This is back and forth. No yelling. It's just straight up facts. We say the data, whatever. We just having a conversation. I don't know everything. You don't know everything. We just agree that we don't know some things.
You
But
lining me up right now. I know you want to line
okay,
me up.
no. We agree.
There's a
We agree.
lot I don't know.
No,
I
no,
agree.
we're not, and I'm not even going with the whole
Hey,
fit because what I don't want you to do is come back with this. I just feel like it's better, and we talk about that's that fuzzy, that
Well, come
warm
on
and
now.
fuzzy stuff.
I'm not.
We're not
Yeah,
doing that. We don't do that. We don't do
not
that at
doing that.
You don't do that at TLP, right? You don't do that, right?
No,
No
no,
more
sir.
Okay, Let's. Do we agree that the most important coaches that needed a change from the previous year was one, the offensive coordinator, two, the O line, and three, the D coordinator? Would we all agree that those were the most important changes for a coaching staff on this team from last year's team watching their games? Would we
yes,
agree
sir.
that?
I
I agree
Okay,
agree.
Are
with
you
that.
saying?
I
okay,
agree.
Wait,
okay,
wait, wait. Are
Yeah.
you
okay.
saying that coaches that needed to be changed?
Yeah, the biggest
Coaching
problem was the
positions. Yeah.
defensive coordinator, the
Yeah.
O line, and the offensive coordinator. Would you agree? Is there
I
anybody
would.
that's
No,
debating that?
no, I would not agree.
Okay,
No.
so okay, what
I
position? So give me what coaches need to be changed. What three coach? The top three positions, top three coaches. What would you say?
Well, I mean, you put me on the spot because I don't know
If,
that any coaches needed to be
no,
changed.
oh, so you so Sean, okay, so my bad. Well, I'm okay. I don't,
I
Hey,
I'm,
you
I'm
know,
going.
Sean
I'm
Lewis.
going.
I think
I'm with
I'm going to give. I'm going to give a little pushback on Harry on that. Harry, I believe because the changes that we made were key changes because
so.
that's
You want
where
everybody
we
back?
had. No, that's where we. This is Coach Williams. This is where we had the most problems at. Is those changes that were made, and so
Right. So
what
that's why
I
I'm just
what
asking you,
Well,
Harry. Would you
y'all
consider
were
those
saying
are
that
the
it was the O line. Remember,
no.
I would never agree with y'all that it was the O line ever.
Okay,
I
so
would
what was
not.
wrong? Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So let's take the O line out. The O line was
Yeah.
so we have that on record. Hold up. We have that on record. We have
I'm
that
not
on
gonna
record.
lose that position.
Harry
I'm
is
not backing
saying,
down. I'm standing on
hold on,
business.
but okay, let's stand on business then. So so since you felt like the O line performed well and they weren't the problem,
Don't put
does it
words in my
make
mouth.
okay?
I
Wait,
did.
wait, wait a minute. Hold
I
on, Harry.
don't go jumping
No,
out
okay, man.
off
Hold
the
up, Harry.
bridge.
Hold up,
I ain't
hold
said
up.
all that.
Wait a
I
minute.
ain't said all
In
that.
sports, hold up. In sports, it's a zero-sum game. It's either good
Okay.
enough or it's not good enough. So which one is it, Harry?
No, I don't. I can't. No, I can argue
Oh,
my
you just gonna
position.
argue with me, Harry? You just gonna
No,
argue
no,
with me
no,
just
no. You
because
say
you
it's
think I'm
good
setting
enough
you
or
up?
it's not good enough. Is that it?
No, it's
So
in sports. You either
there's no
win
in
or you
between.
lose.
They
In
either
sports,
performed or
you
they
either
didn't
win or you
perform.
lose. Harry, in sports, you either win or you lose. So was
Well,
the O
yeah, but
line
there are
or winning?
elements that
Were they part of winning?
there are elements that would support that. So it's not as easy to say when it comes to talking about the O line. It's not that easy.
Okay, so what is
okay.
the O? Okay. So I'll
And
leave the
you
O
are a
line
bunch
alone.
of players, so
I'll
I'm
leave it
glad
alone.
you're on here.
I'll leave
No,
it
but
alone.
the
I'll
point
leave it
is,
alone.
Here's
So
what I
I just
believe.
want your
This,
I just want your
hold on,
people to
tennis.
hear that.
but
I
hold
want your
on.
people to hear that.
I,
I want them to hear
Hold
that.
on, tennis.
This might help.
Tennis, you gotta wait because he's addressing me. Give me a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on.
Listen.
I just want and I'm glad I heard that because I never thought that you felt that way. I never
Oh, I've
thought
been
that.
said that though. That's my
Okay,
position on this
okay,
channel. I didn't
okay,
think.
cool. My bad.
And Prime Effect 101 can
Okay.
tell you straight up. I've
What?
never conceded to the fact or even think for 1 second that it was the O line.
Okay.
And I'm glad that you're here that we can break this down. We can talk about this.
Cool. Okay, so let's talk about
What
OC and
position
DC.
did you play? What position did you play in the NFL?
Linebacker. So hold up. I got a
You
question
were
for
a
you.
linebacker, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So
Did you
I got
have
a question for you.
Did you have any Did you have any offensive linemen's friends?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, good. Okay, good. Now, if you were to talk to your offensive lineman, right,
Right.
and you ask them this question: what makes you guys the most aggressors, right? Because this was a question that was during the season, and a couple of linemen came out and they said we got to establish the run early in the game. That makes us the aggressors.
Okay. So
Would
I'm
you
about to go
agree?
with you.
Would you
I'm about to
agree
go
that
with you.
the lack of running affected the O line at a certain a little bit in some way, some
Oh,
shape or form,
absolutely.
without rebutting and saying they didn't have the O line, so they couldn't
No.
run. Like that's
No. Absolutely. I totally agree with you. But I did feel like if I had to change three coaching staff positions, O line would have been one of them as well. But I do agree with you. The offensive calling, the calls and not running the ball was extremely bothersome for O line and for the system. So just to go back on I took O line out since you felt like it was the coach's fault that the O line was not good and they were actually pretty good. Okay, so boom,
this
we
is
got that.
no, but
Okay,
I gotta. But it's no. What I
but
don't want you
but
to do is I don't want you to take 1 point and then make it a sum as this is why I said no coaches. There's more to it because the O line. Okay, so if you think about the whole idea of what happened, right? If you're saying, oh, well, the O line they didn't run the ball. People keep saying that, oh, we couldn't run because we didn't have an O line. And I said, well, you're not looking at it the right way. You got to look at it in its totality. So if we didn't run the ball, the O line didn't get an opportunity to be the aggressor, so they were always playing from behind. You know, if you think at any point that the mentality, that their mojo or whatever affects the game, how you start them off can affect that game. If you believe at all, if that affects the game, then that goes into it as well. Once you start playing from behind, that affects the rest of your mentality going into the game. They were always playing from behind because we never ran the ball to begin with. So that
Okay,
affected
so
their mentality and how they approach the
okay,
game
so
as well.
okay, you know what? I'm gonna give you that point. I'm not gonna sit up here and I'm not falling on the sword for the O line. I'm good. We good. I'm not gonna ask you. I'm not gonna put no extra syrup on it. I'm just gonna move on to the next comment. So then that means if the O line didn't get all the things they needed to be the best that they can,
Right.
then who does that fall? Now let's go up the ladder a little bit more. Okay, above O line we have OC.
I
Okay.
knew you was lining me up.
No.
Go ahead.
I'm just because this is the thing. At the end of the day,
Uh-huh.
4-8 happens for a reason. So we got to get to that reason. I need you to get to that reason so we can have a real conversation. So
Okay.
do you think the offensive coordinator? Hold on. Do we have Do we have an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator problem last year?
Based
I'm
on
just
your
curious. I'm
narrative,
asking
you
you.
would be right. Based on your narrative, you would be right that the offensive coordinator got to go.
Okay, so now let's go back. Now let's round this all the way back up, to my beginning statement. I feel like I'm in court right now. We're going all the way back to the beginning.
Okay.
My statement was, I don't know if we are better. Now I wanted to throw some more evidence on this case, which was the O line, but I'm gonna take that to the side. Let's just focus on offense and defense.
We know we got to throw
Offensive
Coach Prime in
coordinator,
here too, right?
hold on.
Because
Oh,
Coach Prime
but he hasn't
Coach
changed.
Prime is the head coach and he affects everything. So if we don't throw him in this, if we don't put him on this bus, then the bus can't move. So
Hey, Harry, wasn't
everybody.
Hey, Harry, wasn't it Coach Prime that said the offensive line was hot garbage?
Yeah, but what's your point?
I mean, that is the point. Am I right or wrong? He never gave them no compliments about how great they was. Only time he ever spoke on them, he said they was what? Hot garbage.
Okay, hold on. We about to entertain the crowd today. Hold on. Let me finish my soliloquy.
Am I wrong? I mean, when he spoke about them, am I wrong or right?
Let me finish this up.
Into their psyche, right? That play into their psyche. They had low self-esteem about themselves. So
I got you. I'm with you. That might have hurt Coach Prime saying that might have hurt the season more than anything. That's deep, ain't it? Okay, but let's keep going. Let's go to the OC and the DC.
I can
Hold on. Let's go to the OC.
I'm a data guy. I'm dealing with the data right now.
We're dealing with the data. Offensive coordinator.
Oh man,
Have we gotten better?
Have we gotten better as far as an offensive coordinator? We don't know that.
Have we? Okay, boom, good. Okay, defensive coordinator. Wait, hold up,
The guy that took over his
hold up.
numbers.
No,
His numbers.
see.
The
Let's
4
stick with
games
yeses and
or the
nos.
2 games that he
Let's
took over
stick with-
for. His
I understand
numbers did
that,
not
but he was
better.
hold up, bro. He was part of the offensive system way
That's the
longer
answer
than
to your
4 games.
question. That's part of your answer.
He
to
was
your
part of the offensive scheme way more than 4 games. He was the analyst, the head analyst. So when they game plan for teams, he was the analyst. He said yes and no, this will work, this doesn't work. So let's just say, I like your answer. I don't know if we've gotten better. Boom.
How many
Let's go to the
games
defense.
did they
Let's go to the
co-coach?
defense.
How many
No.
games
Let's just go
were
to
they co-coaches? Because that'll matter as well.
Well, he coached 4 games by himself. He coached the last 4.
No, I mean, but they were when they were when they were doing it together. How many games was that?
I think he was there at the beginning of the year. I think he was there at the beginning of the year.
So that means
What'd
that
you
he
say?
was involved a lot more than we're giving him credit for.
Thank you. Exactly. So if you
But
tell me you didn't
we-
like
we
the
deal with
situation,
data. I'm not.
hold
It's
up.
not no wrong or right.
Hold
We're
up.
dealing with the data. We
That's
gotta
what I'm
include
saying.
everything.
And you are right now, you are speaking the words of babes, speaking the truth. If you
I always
say
speak
the
the truth.
offensive system was a problem, and you also agree, like, wait a minute, he was way more involved than we give him credit for, then the
Right.
question that you answered earlier was, are we better? And for you to properly say and be truthful and say, you know what, I really don't know if we better. That's
But
factual.
there's an element
Now,
that you're
hold
missing.
up. I'm
There's
done.
one
Hold up. Time
element
out.
you're missing.
No, there's not any elements that I'm missing.
There
Because
is.
it's the same. Okay, give me one. What's the one element that changes everything?
Coach Prom's influence is the element you're missing.
Oh my God, here we go. Here we go. Sound like fuzzy. We sound like fuzzy. He was influenced with last year. We get to the fuzzy. Don't start doing that.
No,
I'm talking about data.
you don't know
We
what- you don't know
cannot. We
what
can't
angle-
measure that.
You don't
You
know
can't
which
measure
angle
that.
I'm taking.
You
You
can't
don't know
measure
which
that.
angle
Okay.
you don't know which
Okay.
angle I'm taking.
You can't measure that. Okay, tell, if you talking something we can measure, can we measure it?
Listen, just give me a second. Give me a second. The angle has to be considered because when you are the head coach, the decisions that you make as an assistant coach, right? The decisions that are made as an assistant coach, those decisions can be challenged by the head coach. So we have to
Absolutely.
consider data-wise, we have to consider the decisions of Sean Lewis. If we're going to fire Sean Lewis, we cannot fire him without knowing how much control he had, regardless of what Coach Prom says. I give my guy anonymity or whatever. They can do whatever they want.
Hallelujah.
We got to
Ooh.
consider the amount of influence that Coach
Ooh.
Prom had on Sean Lewis's decisions, because that's part of the data. That
Hey,
cannot be
TLC.
ignored.
Harry, you're playing into his hands, man. He's setting you up.
I'm not playing into his hands. I'm just saying that has to be considered. So
Watch
if
yourself.
we're firing,
Watch
if we're
yourself.
firing Sean Lewis, then
Can you still hear me?
I can still. You saying watch yourself?
I couldn't hear y'all. Something happened to my Wi-Fi.
I can hear you, but I'm
Can you
just
hear me?
saying all things have to be
Yeah,
considered.
we hear
Yes,
you.
we
We
can
hear you. Yes, sir.
All things have to be considered. That's why I said nobody leaves. That's why I'm at the position saying nobody leaves, because if everybody leaves, then Coach got to leave too. Coach Prom got to leave.
Oh, who? Okay. You sound
Well, you know-
dark sided.
But you know,
Boy, you sound like you
It's
dark
not-
sided.
it's
but
just
you know,
data.
Coach Prime,
You-
Coach Prime
but it's
ain't going
the
nowhere.
facts, though,
Coach
right?
Prime
It's just
ain't
the
going
fact.
nowhere.
I
He's
know.
the head
Okay.
I'm saying emotional
okay.
I'm not
So,
being
Harry,
emotional.
so,
I'm
Harry.
just saying nobody leaves because you can't. Coach
I
Prom
know.
can't leave. So if anybody
He's the
leaves,
HNIC. He's the HNIC head brother in charge.
agree.
HBIC.
I
Okay.
agree.
So,
But that's why I
you
said-
are right.
that's why I said nobody leaves, because if anybody leaves, then he got to leave.
Ooh. Okay. Let me
Not really.
hold on.
The head
Let me
coach
get to the
don't
other side.
go, though, Harry. Head
No,
coach don't
but-
go. Both head coach ain't
Okay,
going
hold
nowhere.
up. Let me go to the other side of the ball. Let me go to so we already finished with the offense side. I totally agree with
Wait,
everything you're
who's running
saying.
the show? You
And I'm
running
not
the show? Or am I running the show? I'm
No.
confused here.
get to it. But I got old school talking. I got tennis talking. I got you preaching dark side gospel. I'm like, what? Wait a minute. Okay, let me go to the right. Now on the defensive side, is there anything you can tell me that makes you feel like you know that the defense is going to be better?
Anything that I can
From
say
a
that
coordinator,
the defense is gonna
from a
be better?
person that has never been a coordinator on any level, middle school, high school, Pop Warner, XFL, USFL, Canada, arena
The only
football
thing
has
that I can
never
tell you
been a
about the
coordinator.
The only thing I can tell you about the defense is that we got better talent now. I feel like because defensive play schemes and calls are much easier. I can say that the defense is the coordinator position as a defensive coordinator is not as important as the offensive coordinator, because the offense runs too many schemes. They run a lot more schemes than the defense. So I think that, I'm not trying to downplay the defensive coordinator's job, but I think the defensive coordinator doesn't have to be as the defensive coordinator position doesn't have to be as a genius. I think you can install a few plays on defense, and anybody can call those plays. I mean, I'm just saying.
Okay.
But that still doesn't. That's not true. But I'm gonna let you have that. But you still didn't answer my question. Is the defensive coordinator better? You still didn't answer the question. You went all around it, but you never said yes or no, or we don't know. Is the defensive coordinator person that's in there now better than the
What is your real
defensive
question? What
coordinator
are you
we
trying
had
to get
last
at? What are you really
year?
trying
I'm
to
just
get
saying.
at?
Listen.
Better?
I came to court. I came to your court. I came to your court. I stood in front of your table, and I stated my case. I brought back facts. You even came to my side.
Resume wise, he's
Okay,
not.
boom.
But I
No,
got.
there's no other data. There's no other data.
Now I can.
There's no other data.
Listen. I can better, because when I make a point, trust me, I can back up my points. Any point that I make, I can back it up with data. I can tell you why it matters, because I'm not you. You're more of a Vegas type of guy.
No, absolutely not.
The analytical part of it. I go deeper into the analytics than just oh, it's either black or
Okay.
white. It's not.
Okay.
Everything is not always black or white, because I just
Correct.
proved to you that there were elements that were happening that you're not even considering. You're just black or white. It's either good or it's bad. You
That
either
is
win
true.
or
You
you
haven't
lose.
proved
But there are
anything.
other
You haven't proved
elements
anything
affect the
that goes
game
against.
other
Hold
than
up,
just
Harry.
win or lose.
Hold up. You have not said anything that disregarded my point of being still scared regarding the coaching staff. At the end of
No,
the
I don't
day,
think I was in that
Tennis Channel,
position
hold
of
up.
trying to
Tennis
prove you
Channel
wrong.
agreed. You
I'm not on.
agreed. Even
I
old
wasn't in
school
a
said,
position
I
of
can see
trying
that.
to
Yeah,
prove
because
you.
he
I
used your
can't
own data,
disprove you
Harry.
when you say you are scared. I'm not trying
Yes.
to disprove you. We're having a different conversation now. We already moved off of that. I wasn't trying to disprove that you're wrong. There's no wrong or right when somebody says, I'm still concerned about the offense. I mean, the coaches.
The coaching.
There's nothing
Absolutely.
to disprove there. So there's no reason for me to argue with you on that point. I can concede to that and say, okay, let's move the conversation down the road. The conversation that we are having now is now more of an analytical conversation to try to say, well, how do we look at this when you ask the question and say, well, you don't think any of these coaches needed to go? I'm trying to defend my position, and I'm trying to give you the reasons why I don't think that any coaches should have went, because it has to start with the top. If any coach goes, it has to start at the top. Technically, it starts at the top because he influences all the decisions.
But so I agree. See, we didn't have a disagreement on that. I was still stating my point, trying to get back around. But if you say we offer that, cool. If we're talking
Why are
about
you
that,
doing
you're
this? Just lining
absolutely
me up.
right.
I can see this.
Hold up,
I
time
can
out.
see this
No,
coming
I
1,000
wasn't.
miles an
I
hour.
literally
I can
wasn't.
see this.
I literally wasn't. I'm actually agreeing with you. I think what they say, everything rolls uphill. It does. I totally agree with you. If the same person's at the top, you see this with pro teams, college teams all the time. You keep switching people out, but the head coach is still a bad head coach. You got a problem. You're right. I totally agree with you. That's your point. That's your
I'm
stance.
not
I agree
saying that
with you.
Coach Prime is a bad coach.
I didn't
but
say
there
that.
were
I didn't say that
there-
he was. I'm saying, I'm giving you an example.
I'm
If a
just
coach is a
trying to
bad coach,
clarify. I'm
like
just
hold
trying
up,
to
just like Nick
clarify my
Saban.
position.
Hold up, time out. That's what I'm
But
saying.
you're
Let me do
dominating
it
the
from this way.
conversation. I'm
I'm
trying to
not. I'm
make sure
trying to
that we
finish the point, but you won't let me.
okay.
I'm gonna say one
So
thing and
what's
I'm
the
done.
point?
So I'm just. I could do it from the other end. No matter. Nick Saban has had many offensive coordinators and defensive coordinators over the last 20 years. He's a great coach. No matter who they again, they still have talent. They still have good coaches, and they still perform well on the field. Some years better than others, but for the most part, they still perform well because Nick Saban has certain cores. So I can even talk it to you from that aspect. I'm not. I just gave you one that was bad, and I gave you one that was good. I totally agree with you. It falls on the head coach most of the time. And I'm saying from that standpoint, if we're gonna swing it all the way back around, I don't know if I don't know if I can see. I don't know if there's a change or better. I just don't know. I think he could get better, but I just don't know. That's it.
Okay,
And I'll leave it alone.
Well,
Can
well,
I
that's okay.
add?
So I'll give it to you in a second. This is what I would say. Remember the resume that we just talked about, where you were saying, was he better? Remember, we had a better guy, but yet the mistakes were made, right? When I talked about when I did that reaction video for Livingston, in there I articulated saying resume doesn't always prove to be better. It's your mentality, your approach to the game. Sometimes you have to understand that we had the better resume, and the better resume also made mistakes. The better resume also only won 4 games. It's not necessarily always the better resume if we're just looking at that, because we had the better resume. He was the last, the best thing since sliced bread. The way we talked about him. Oh, Kelly was this, Kelly was that. This person was supposed to be great. So this
And I agree with you.
you know what I'm saying?
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Livingston is yet to be proven, but you got to listen to Livingston when in his approach, and then you got to take the little bit of experience that he has on the secondary and say, okay, how is his approach going to be when he's now the play caller? His approach, I like the things that he's saying because the way that he's going to approach the game is how I wanted Sean Livingston to approach the game, is to be talent forward. Be talent forward. When at the end of the day, if you evaluate it, let me finish my thought. This is very important for people to understand this.
Okay.
You got to be able to evaluate the talent that you have in-house and say, what are our deficiencies? Where are we strong? Where do we lack? If you come in here, you're a genius, you just bring your genius playbook and slap it down and say, everybody learn it, let's go play. hike one, hut one, let's go. That's not how this works. You got to say, okay, what are these guys good at? Who's good at what? Once you evaluate the talent that you have, then now you can take your playbook and make some adjustments on that playbook and say, okay, this is what we're going to take out of here because these guys are not going to get this. This is what we're going to put in here because these guys are a little slow or they're a little, whatever they're lacking, we got to make up for that in the play calling. And I feel like nobody knew anybody on that team last year, and that hurt us. But what Livingston is saying, I'm coming in here, I'm not bringing nothing over there from Cincy, all right? I'm going to leave that over there because I know those guys were professionals and they knew what they could do, what to do, and I knew how they were going to play. So I'm going to leave that over there.
Okay.
And I'm going to start asking some questions.
Okay. And this is my last. Can I do one last?
When I get to know these guys, then I'm going to say, okay, now this is what I know what they can do, and I'm going to implement that. But you got to hurry up.
Okay. This is the last. And I'm about to get off. My bad. But I just got to reply real quick. But you said all of that. But before you said all of that, you said the OC and the DC didn't really matter because Prime impacted all of that stuff. So according to you just said, it doesn't matter because you said Prime. Wait, that's what you just said. Come on, Harry, you just said that. Okay. I'm gonna edit. Let's go, Tennis. You can have it. I'm literally saying what you said.
And that's not going to happen.
No, because if anybody was listening to this,
I said that the OC and the DC didn't matter.
Because you said Prime impacted it. You said if anybody should have left, it should have been Prime. That's exactly what you said. That's exactly what you said.
That is not the point that I was making.
Tennis, am I saying something weird?
It didn't matter. I never said it didn't matter. You're putting words in my mouth. I can speak. I'm very astute. You don't speak for me. I can speak for myself. And
I know Spartan. Market Street, Spartan, Spring Garden.
The OC, the DC didn't matter because what?
I know UNCG. I know UNCG. I'm just saying, I know Market Street, Spring Garden. I got you.
But what I'm not going to allow you to do is to line me up. I'm not. It's never.
I'm not lining you up, but you can't talk out of both sides. You can't say. Well, no, time out. You can't talk out of both sides. Time out. But Harry, you can't do that though, brother. You can't sit up here and say if anybody should have left, it should have been Prime because he's the one impacting. But then on the other side, tell me things are going to be different because the DC has a different way of looking at things. But then tell me that no matter what the DC does, Prime is going to impact that. We can't have both sides of the conversation. Which one is it?
Let me explain, and then I gotta let Tennis Channel talk. I gotta let my.
I'm gonna let y'all finish up. I'm gonna sit back and listen. I don't want. Yeah, I'm gonna sit back and listen. All right,
cool. So let's make this clear. Let's just be very clear. I want to make sure that's why this conversation. I wanted to make sure that we understood the other elements that goes into some of these things. All right, we do not know the level of play calling that Sean Lewis had. We do not know if he had 100%, 1,000% control. We do not know that. We do not know. We do not know some of the elements that were going on that sideline. We don't know everything that was going on the sideline. All we're doing right here, all right, all we're doing right now is just saying we're blaming we're only blaming the people that we see that was in those positions. All right. So I said nobody goes because Coach Prime can't go. I said nobody goes because Coach Prime can't go because we don't know how much influence Coach Prime had on Sean Lewis and the DC. If everybody stays, you guys figure this out. Where did we go wrong? Nobody goes. I wasn't saying Coach Prime, the DC, nobody didn't matter because Coach Prime got to go. That's not the point that I was making. I'm saying because Coach Prime has influence on what's going on, overall what's going on, we got to start with Coach Prime. He has to come into this conversation. How much influence did he have? And was he influencing any of the play calling at all? So if we're just going to throw all the blame on these guys, then we say, okay, fine. They get all the blame, then you got to go. Okay, if next year if they're bad too, then we got to look somewhere else. We will never look at the head coach. But Coach Prime can't go. So we got to evaluate we got to look at the different elements. It's not just cut and dry. It's not just if the defensive coordinator, if the defense was bad, get rid of the defensive coordinator. So now we're not going to look at position by position. Get rid of the coordinator. If the offense was bad, get rid of the coordinator. Year after year, just we keep getting rid of coordinators. There are other elements to look at other than just saying, okay, the defense was bad, get rid of the coordinator. That is the point that I was trying to make. I never said nobody was important because Coach Prime got to go. I'm not going to accept that because I can articulate the different elements that I'm talking about. I'm talking about different things that was going on that nobody was aware of. The infighting that was going on. People not feeling like they had a voice. There was a lot of things going on that affected the game overall. Sean Lewis is looking for a job in the mid-season. That's not important. That's important too. If this guy's looking for a job, he's not feeling like he has control over Shedeur. That's not important at all. That's important too. You got to look at everything that was going on because you got Shedeur. He doesn't. If what offensive coordinator you know does not have the ear and the heart of the starter of QB1. If anybody can come on to this show and tell me that Sean Lewis have 100% the heart and ear of Shedeur, then I will concede and say I was wrong. Tennis, can you do that? Old school, can you do that?
Here's what I can do. You're right, and Aparu is right, and I'm gonna tell you why. Here's what I believe. Now, this is an opinion, okay? Settle down, Harry. You're twisting your neck there. I know what that means. That's stretch. Settle down. Listen up.
I'm not gonna let somebody lower me into agreeing with something that I know that I'm not saying.
Here's what I believe, and both of you guys were saying it. You were just saying it in your way. Here's what I believe. If I kind of agree with the people we brought in. I mean, the players that we brought in different players. I mean, I like that. I like what I see. Mm-hmm. After what I've seen, now that's the only data that I have. What my eyes have witnessed, like the same as you've done, with all the information that's just presented to us so far about the coaches and about the coaches and the players. If we have the same situation that we had last year and we brought some of them out here, coaches not getting along, the team not gelling. If we have the same thing with the coaches that we have now, which I don't believe we will, we'll have the same issue like last year. That's a fact, okay? We're talking about facts. That is a fact. It's also an opinion of mine that, the change had to be made, and the change was made. So I believe that we're gonna be a better team for it, because if you want change, here's what they say about change, man. If you want something to change, sometimes you have to do something drastic to make it happen. Because other than that, if you go a little bit here, a little bit there, it'll never happen. It'll take forever. That's why his recruitment rate is not high in high school, is because he knew that Coach Prime needed to make a drastic change, and the change needed to be immediately. Now the results may not be immediate, okay, but the change had to be made. So we've made the change. We've got better players in. I believe we've got the right coaches in. That Coach Prime was asking for, and I believe it's going to be better. That's all I want to say. You guys were both pretty much saying the same thing, but he was that was pretty good, Anaru. He knows what Anaru knows, and I know you're listening. He knows what you believe.
You're calling him Alaru, it's Alfaru. You're calling him that other player you got. But old school, what you got to add? Old school, go ahead, man. Go ahead, add.
I could, to a certain extent, I could echo the same thing the tennis channel was saying. As far as I don't know if you played yourself into it, nothing like that. But what he was saying to a certain extent is correct. as far as that offensive line, not only the offensive line, that decent defensive line also. That go both go hand in hand. You know, when we finished up last year, like giving up the runs and all that other stuff, that it had to be a change. So 52 sacks, what is it, 52? Man, that stuff, somebody had to change something. No, Coach Prime had to go out there himself and do it.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree that changes had to be made, but what I was saying is that I felt like they had too much going on to blame O-line and D-line coaches. They had too much extra stuff, non-football, just too much weirdness going on that team. So I'm like, the coaches that they got had great resumes. You see what I'm saying? These were not some by the roadside coaches. These are coaches that have great resumes, but they couldn't figure out chemistry within the group of the unit. The coaches couldn't figure out chemistry. So there's a lot going on. There are other elements that affect the game. Sometimes it's not just win and loses black and white. There are other elements that's affecting the game. And camaraderie, people getting along matters. Those young men are playing for someone. They got to play for someone. And if they don't know the adults are getting along, who they're playing for?
But Harry, you know what?
Sean Lewis ain't going to be here. If the word is starting to float around that Sean Lewis ain't going to be here, who they're playing for? If they know that Kelly ain't going to be here, who they're playing for?
See, Harry, you know what most people believe? Most people want, particularly the fan base, they want results. They don't care about the bickering, the in-team bickering and stuff like that. All we want to see is some results. Now, whatever issues you have internally, you got to fix that. And if it's not fixed, you know that it's going to show up on the outside. So they don't really care. They don't care about that.
Like, look, they didn't have time to figure out chemistry. So prime effect 101, you're correct, right? They didn't have time to figure out chemistry, but we don't talk about that. That doesn't affect the game. Like, that's what I want to understand. Like, that doesn't affect the game at all. You're telling me that does not affect the game at all. The adults in the room getting along doesn't affect the game at all.
Sometimes adults act like children. Can I say that? You believe that though?
When I'm articulating my points, I don't just come on here to just be like, yo, just to be spitting out nothing. I know that there are other facts that affect football than just winning, losing, black and white. Yeah. Those guys, those coaches not getting along play a part in how the season turned out. And guess what? I'll say this also. You can win and still be a mess. You can win and people still, you know what I'm saying? Things can just fall your way and you can still be a mess. And it can show up in the next season. You cannot you cannot be getting along and still put up 8-4, and then the next year you come and you can lose all your games and go, and then people be asking that same question in reverse. What the heck happened? Because they were not getting along. They had the talent. Kelly knew how to call plays. He made a few mistakes, but he knows how to call plays. Sean Lewis knows how to call plays. So what the heck are we just going to say, okay, get rid of everybody? That's what I'm saying. If those guys really loved each other, if those guys really cared about each other, and they really wanted Colorado football to go to the next level, and they really all bought into Colorado football and whatever Coach Prime, whatever he was selling, they were picking up, or whatever he was putting down, they were picking up, and they were all getting along, they could have brought back that whole unit and say, all right, guys, let's redo this. Let's figure this out. We're going to win together. But they weren't getting along. Come on now.
And the reason why they weren't getting along, why is the reason? They wasn't happy. Somebody wasn't happy. Who wasn't happy? The offensive side, who wasn't happy? Bill O'Boyle, Sean Lewis, who wasn't happy?
Old school, I'll tell you this. There's no offensive coordinator that does not have the heart and the ears of their QB1. Sean Lewis never had a connection with QB1. Like, we got to be fair about that, man. Like, you got to look at that sometimes. Like, QB1 was never Sean Lewis's QB.
Okay.
You can't be no coordinator without a QB1. QB1 not listening to you.
With your opinion, would this coordinator have Shadour's here?
Well,
The one we got
that's what
now.
they
The one
say.
we got,
He said Shador himself has said him and Shermer get along better.
okay.
Him and Shermer, they communicate better. He said that himself.
That's
You
good.
see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I'm saying that there were some human factors that affected the entire synergy of the team.
Yeah.
That affected the play call, that affected the way that the guys play. So the human factor got involved. I don't think it was just people were just terrible at their job. I don't believe that, man.
Well, they were terrible at their job. No, that it's a job. It's not a there you go job. There you go. It's a job, not a marriage.
You know what? I did hear this too, Harry, that at the beginning, or was it Sean Lewis and Shador did get along pretty beginning at the beginning, but as the season wore on, they started having issues, and they never could come together on those issues. Sean Lewis wanted to do something else, Shador wanted to do something else, and Prime wanted to do something else. Everybody wanted to do something different. Okay. And so that changed during the course of them playing together under pressure situations. Who's going to make the decision, or who makes the decision? If Shadur's out there and he said, this is what I need to see, this is what I need. And Sean Lewis is saying, well, yeah, but. There's that yeah, but right now. He says, yeah, but I want, this is what we're trying to do. This is what I'd like you to do. You see, reluctantly, Shador say, okay, I'll do it. But then that boils down to, who's supporting Shador, his supporting cast. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean,
So-
at the end of the day, man, that whole team, like, this is one thing that a lot of people are really, really miscalculating when it comes to team sports. And it's kind of sad because you get stuck just trying to make a point in the comments, when you're not talking. It's really sad to make this point because people don't really understand like the human factor of sports. Even in the NFL, you pay all the best players. The Washington Redskins. Let's go back to when Deion Sanders played for the Washington Redskins. Daggone Dan Snyder went and got. He was a billionaire who went out and got all the best players. Obviously, they were not in their prime, pun intended, right? But he got all the best players on the Washington Redskins trying to buy a trophy, and he could not buy that trophy.
Wow.
When teams win, they talk about being a family. Let's take the Denver Nuggets, for example. Those guys been playing together and they play for each other. What do people always say? Unselfish ball. We're playing for each other. We are family. This guy's not fighting for his own stats. At the end of the day, they're professionals. Man, I gotta get this ball so that I can get my bonus. I gotta get this. When people forget about themselves and they start playing for each other, when it's a family unit, that's when you see championship starts to develop, championship teams, because they're playing selfless. So people, and it starts from the head coach all the way down to the guy that washes the daggone jerseys on the daggone team. Everybody got to be locked in. Coach Prime talks about that.
Right.
If everybody's not locked in and shoulder to shoulder, I'm sorry, but it ain't going to work, man. I'm trying to tell y'all, it's not going to work. You may get lucky and win a few, but it ain't going to be much more after that.
Yeah. I think we got a better. I believe we got a better chance this year of being successful in that kind of way than we did last year. Because like I said, Harry, like you said before, it started from the top. A lot of them coaches, some of them coaches didn't want to be there. I wouldn't say that about Kelly, but I know the offensive side, a lot of them coaches didn't want to be there. And just like you had made mention to the fact that what's his name, Sean Lewis, had a job already prepared halfway through the season.
I mean, but once he knew that he didn't have the control anymore, he was out of there. He checked out mentally. You
well,
can
what
tell
about
Sean
what about the other 6 games?
Mid-season, he was checked out. You can tell Sean Lewis was not even there mentally no more.
Yeah, what was it? Why would you argue with a person about change? Change that need to be. You said no, he didn't need to go nowhere. He should have stayed. You stood on that. I mean, why would you stand on it and then turn around and say, "Man"? I mean,
Well, you
like
know,
I said, this is a
it came to a head. I think it
this is
also
a
came
job.
to
It's not a marriage. This is not a marriage.
Harry. It's what you're saying. You know, it came to a head when Prime made where he made the decision to give him a lesser job. Well, Sean Lewis not calling the plays anymore. Zimmer, not did I say Zimmer? Not Zimmer. The other guy was. That lets everybody know right there something's going on wrong. Something's not right. Now, like you're saying, Harry, that didn't just happen overnight. And it happening. I guess it started happening when we were losing. When we started losing and seemed like it wasn't getting any better, or maybe
After
people
that
weren't
Oregon
getting
game,
along,
after that Oregon game, I'm sorry to the channel.
whatever one it was, Coach made that change. That's when everything was being revealed. Because when you make a change like that, it's like me being, just say if I got married,
Mhm.
in the next 6 months, Harry, I make a change. I need another wife. Something's wrong. Something been happening for 6 months, to cause me to make that decision there and right then.
But you
It
but you
didn't
know what
just.
so Willie, what the coaches talk about always? They say that they put the kids through certain situations to see how they overcome adversity. I
Yeah,
wonder if the
definitely.
coaches ever went through the same thing to see how they overcome adversity.
That's a question. Yes, yes, and
Because
you
because
got
when
to
they
ask
had
that. Yes,
adversity, there was a lot of disconnect. They didn't overcome adversity.
yeah,
How many coaches
I
did we lose?
agree.
How many coaches did we lose at the end of the season? Almost our whole daggone coaching staff left the building. So we're talking about the young men overcoming the adversity. The coaching staff did not overcome adversity at all. And it ain't gonna
That's
be
a
the head coach that leaves. It's gonna be the assistants that leave.
Harry, that's a question you should pose to the chat. How many times? I mean, you could, people in the chat, if they're listening at this, they need to be able to answer that question. How many times in your life you've had, your child been able to do something, or you've asked your child to do something that you yourself haven't been able to do? And that would explain a little bit about about what was going on with CU. Little bit,
So
not the whole thing, but a little bit.
KMS is saying that there's a lot of finger pointing right now when you're watching the videos. I don't know what you guys are watching. If you
I
guys
don't
are
either.
seeing the finger pointing, I mean, I would say this. The guys that are fighting for position, the guys that are fighting for the second spot, that's going to happen. I don't know that that's not going to happen in this NIL age that we're dealing with. And Prime Effect 101, I'll deal with your question in a second. But I don't know that finger pointing is not going to happen in this day and age, especially especially over the U-Haul guys. Please understand that the U-Haul team that we got, guys, all right, these guys are coming in here knowing this is their last year, and they got to shine now. You don't come to this team being a one-year guy thinking, oh, I'm going to take a back seat to some dude who may not be as talented as I am.
Mm.
That's not your mentality. Your mentality is, look, I told y'all in my interview, this is my last year. I want to know that I'm going to play. I ain't coming over here, you know what I'm saying? I ain't coming over here thinking, yo, some dude's going to start over me, and I know that he's not like that, but y'all like him better. So he's going to start because y'all like him better. He does better in the film room or whatever. You're going to start him over me, and I know he ain't like that. Come on now. You know that that's going to happen, but is it going to be to the detriment of the team? Not this time. I see Khalil is taking he's very vocal. I see Justin Mayers, he's very vocal a lot of these guys are very vocal and they're leaders. That's a difference that I'm seeing this year. There's a lot of leaders in that locker room this time. And what Shador was saying, that a lot of guys are taking responsibility for their issues that they're having. And the finger pointing is something that they've been talking about. Guys talking about guys on the side. He said that they've been dealing with that a lot. So if that's what Shador's saying, I'll take Shador at that. And do y'all want to add something before I go to Prime One Effect 101? The question on the statement that's on. Y'all want to say anything to that before I move on?
No,
Yeah,
I'll have.
I heard Shadur say that statement. I heard him make that statement, and yeah, I did. Exactly did we hear it? Yeah, we did hear that. So,
Right.
I think that's a good thing, because now, because if you notice, I saw one play that one ball he threw to Travers. Now here's how those guys are on. Travers was running a post pattern. I don't know if it's called post right or
You
post
talking about
left.
this season or last season?
Well, no, last season when they played.
Okay.
He threw the ball, instead of throwing it toward the middle or towards the left post, he threw it to the right. And Travers automatically went to his right shoulder. He was looking to catch it on his left, and Shadur threw the ball to his right shoulder, and he immediately adjusted to the route because he knew it was open there. And I think that's what the caller is talking about right there, because when he would throw to the shoulders, he threw it to the right or the left shoulder. It was kind of like covered a little bit, but he threw it to the opposite shoulder, and Travers automatically made the adjustment. I looked at that and I said, that was just like so cool. So yeah, I mean, that's what have to have. Is that called? That's not a choice route, is it? That called a choice route?
The option routes. Well,
The option route. Remember they talked about that a little bit.
I mean, so I think at the end of the day, Shador said that he wanted everybody to be on the same page. He wanted the play calling to be simpler.
Yeah.
He didn't want people to be like, he didn't want to have, what I'm saying? He wanted to understand, he wanted to know that if he made a pass and he got it there, and he didn't get it there or something like that, then that was on him. But the fact that they had options and stuff like that, and sometimes the guys, he doesn't know whether the guys are going to be running the post or they're gonna dig in. He didn't, that caused some issues with communication, and that's what he said he didn't like that. So I understand that factor of it, but I would say there's more to it than that. There's a lot more that went into that than we know. So we can dig in on specific play calling. We can dig in on specific ways that the plays was ran. We can say, oh, these young men, there's so many elements that we can pick at. But at the end of the day, I think what it boils down to, man, we're going to have to look at leadership and say, okay, we had those issues. If those issues don't repeat themselves, then we say, okay, we can mark this one and say, okay, then I see why they were saying that. I see why they were saying that. But at this point, we're into a new season, and we got to get down to the nitty gritty. We got to get down to understanding what the season is what it's gonna bring, because we got Livingston now, we got Shermer, you know what I'm saying? We got Phillips. We got a lot of new coaches that's in the building. I don't know if you guys have seen Waldo, meaning Warren Sapp. I have not seen him.
What are we still in March?
Yeah.
He'll be here in March. That's the word.
Well, you better stop playing with me.
We're still in March, man. Now,
we're still in
and
March.
When April 1 come and he ain't here, now I'm gonna be scratching my head, just like you scratching your head. Now I'm be scratching mine the same way. Okay, where's Sap? He said we're gonna be here in March, so we're still in March. So,
but keep in mind that Sap is coming as a grad assistant, so we're not putting too much weight on a grad assistant, right? We're not putting weight on a grad assistant. We understand it's Warren Sapp,
but he's not just this dude is not just a grad assistant. Warren Sapp is the man. Yeah, he's more than just a
No,
grad
he's not.
assistant.
Let's be clear. The data does
telling
not
you.
support your argument. The data cannot support your argument. Why? Because a grad assistant does not have the power to make play calls. So let's just make sure that we understand what we're talking about. We cannot
That's what
put weight on a grad assistant. He's
that's
going to
what the
only be
paper
in the
says.
capacity. He's going to be operating in a capacity of a grad assistant.
Are
If
you
go
going to
back and
listen? Let me ask you a question. Are you going to listen at the fact that the paper says this, but the man is wearing a gold jacket?
There you go.
I mean,
Hello, what you gonna put the
that's not
weight
the
on?
data. Who cares? Who cares about that gold jacket stuff?
This is where you throw the
that's
this is
neither
where you
here-
throw the this is where you throw the data out the window, brother.
No. There's two folds to this conversation. There's two folds to what you just said.
I know.
The understanding as a fan base that he's going to have influence over the play call and he's going to have influence over that area of the defense. That's understood. But according to NCAA rules and the data, he's not going to be making no play call. Let's just be clear.
Okay.
Like, so we're not putting no weight.
Hey, Harry, can I put it like this? Okay, now look. Okay, he took the time out, like education-wise, went ahead and go get the degree or diploma to be able to do what he's going to do right now. And these people see this and they notice that. Just say, okay, I do the same thing. I don't know nothing about no football. We already know. Okay, I do the same thing. They're going to hire him faster. They're going to hire me. Not only just because of the fact that my degree might be more, my IQ might be even higher. It wouldn't make no difference. They'll hire him before they hire me. Why? Because he could be an impact. He could be an impact with them children, with them kids, or whatever you want to call them. It's players in so many ways. It's pitiful. And not only that, that brings in recruitment. That brings in everybody. That brings in eyeballs especially. Well, I'm telling you, Harry, it's no end to
I'm
this.
not arguing with that point. Remember, I said there's two folds to this conversation. To what you guys are arguing the other side of the conversation, the influence, right?
The influence on them players, on the players,
I'm just trying to make sure
the
that
individuals.
the fan base has to understand that a grad assistant is not going to be the coach. It's not going to be the position coach.
Nope.
That person is not operating as the position coach. Yes, he can have influence, but according to NCAA rules and how the grad assistant stuff works, that is not the coach.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make that clear so that we're understanding that as a fan base, we can wait all we want. May 1st can come. Okay, we can go all the way into mid-season. If he's not there, that's fine. It's okay because they got to have a coach in that position. He's not the coach. He's a grad assistant.
Yeah.
So Harry, what you're saying, technically, he can't get down with the players. He can't get down and down. What they said, down and dirty with the players.
He can't
do that.
Well, that's the part that I'm giving you guys. I'm giving it to y'all to say he can get down and dirty, right? But he cannot be the guy in the position. You understand what I'm saying?
Oh, okay. I got
No plays in the game. I got it.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, he can get down and dirty. They can do all they want at practice and when they're at lunch and when they're at dinner or whatever, their meetings, and he can get in the pool with them. He can get in the hot tub, whatever they want to do. They can do what they want to do. But when it comes to like the guy that's in that position that's making those calls and stuff like that, he ain't the guy. So
I know.
So based on that, we're not waiting for him. We cannot wait for him. We're not putting weight on the fact that he's not there. So it's okay that he's not there because he's not occupying that position.
Right. That's Coach Daz. Coach Daz.
Right. His influence is going to be felt once he gets there.
Sure.
But as you know, just to understand as far as like how much weight we're putting on this, we're not, as a fan base, as much as we like to talk about the gold jacket and how we love Sap and we can't wait for Sap to come. We ain't putting no weight on that. Like, you don't have to wait. It's okay. You ain't gotta be sitting here waiting for a video to Sap is finally here. Like, you don't have to wait for no headline. Like, that stuff is dead. Like, leave that alone. Go home. Leave it alone. Just leave it alone. Don't wait for that video to drop. Breaking news: Sap is finally in Boulder. Like, that's so what?
Yeah,
right?
that's coming.
Like,
It ain't so what. That means that
I
we
know
already.
how the fan base
Hey,
loves Warren Sapp,
Harry.
but it's like,
Hey,
yeah.
Harry, can I stop you there, please? You said, Sapp and Boulder, so what? That it ain't really so what. That's just coming. That ain't nothing like the cake is already made. All we doing is putting the icing on and getting the what's the name? The decorations all on it and everything. But that cake already been made.
But that's what I'm saying. So
Okay, bet.
if he
That's
has
what you're saying.
influence, if he has influence, they have Zoom calls. They have ways to communicate. Today, this is 2024, right?
Yeah.
So he's already influencing the team the way he needs to influence them. He can talk about plays. They can get on Zoom calls. They can get on phone calls. They can talk about plays. They should have already been doing that. All of that stuff has already been happening. We're not waiting for Warren Sapp's influence on this team. Like everybody's clamoring, waiting for some breaking news. Warren Sapp is finally here. That's all I'm saying. I'm like, you ain't got to worry about that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I agree with that. It's like right. And whether it be a big difference, you can argue the fact whether it make a big difference or not. Yeah, in my opinion, yes, but in other people's it might be no.
No, I mean, I don't know. I'm not waiting for Warren Sapp to land in Boulder. Like I know a lot of people just can't wait. Oh, where's Warren Sapp? Just like we're waiting for we're waiting for Cormani McLean. That's why he made the. That's why Cormani made the thumbnail one more time. But yeah, we're just waiting for Cormani McLean. For what? What are you waiting for? Like you don't have to wait for Cormani.
Did you hear anything? I didn't hear. I haven't heard anything about him yet. I have a suspicion what it was.
That's the argument I'm making. I don't have to. If they give you the idea to say, "Hey, Cormani's doing something. He's handling business, doing something," then at this point we say, "Okay, do your thug thizzle. Leave it alone. Who cares? I don't care. Okay, let him do him."
Yeah,
I know the team is okay.
Nobody
I know the team is okay. Plus, I don't think that he's starting anyway. That's just me. I don't know that he's starting.
Yeah, you did say that, didn't you? Yeah, I was the one that said he was starting, but you know what?
I already know that there's a few guys on that team that's good corners that's ready to eat his lunch. This is competition. This is D1 competition. Them boys ain't playing around. You think them boys are coming over here, leaving their school to come over here to sit behind Cormani McLean because he was a 5-star? Y'all got something else. Nobody cares about your star. They're coming to eat your lunch.
Really?
All right? So them boys are coming to eat his lunch. So he better be ready. I know he can play. He better be ready to play. But anyways, let me get your final thoughts, guys. It's after 9 o'clock on the East Coast Tennis Channel. Let me get your final thoughts on today's show and today. Spring, we didn't get into none of the good stuff. We've been arguing. That's all we've been doing. We've just been arguing old points. We argued a bunch of old points that that doesn't even make any difference because he made a point. He just said, I don't know about these guys being ready. You can't argue that.
Right.
And then we went on to argue some old stuff that didn't really help today's show. But hopefully, people got something out of it.
But
anyway, what's your final thoughts, brother?
What I was saying, I was trying to. You kept telling me it's your show, and I was trying to tell you that he was trying to lead you into that conversation. Alpha is a very smart young man.
But I was trying to give him, what I'm saying? Just like I'll give
He's a very
anybody
smart young man,
I know. I'll give anybody an opportunity to make it. As long as you can articulate your point, I'll let it go. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind people making their point. If you make a good point, I don't mind it. Like Tennis Channel, you got your point. You got your line of thinking, and you know what I'm saying. You're always on the line of this team is going to be good. We're just going to have to believe. I get that. Old school got his way too, but if it starts creeping into you trying to like tell me that I'm saying this and I'm not, and I know that I'm not, and especially if you're not letting me say it, then no, I can't let it go. But anyways, go ahead, get your final thoughts.
Here's what I learned. I learned to control the things I can control. The things that are out of my control, leave it alone.
Right, prime effect. One-on-one, you're right. Go ahead.
Yeah, and so I appreciate you, man. I appreciate this show. I believe that we're going to have a really, really good team. I think it'll be better than some people really think. I was watching some of the the guy T-Cal today, you know, and he's got some good stuff going on again. So I watch him as often as I can because that's where I get my information, get my data at. Because other than that, nobody else is giving me anything or saying anything on the other talk shows, the other talk thing that's resonating, you know. But I think that he's doing a good job with that. You also are doing a good job with your platform. I like Monday nights, you know. No, I guess a lot of the people are working that night and whatever. But I just want to say again, brother, once again, you know, I always tell you this, man. I appreciate you. I did write something in the chat, but I hope they took it as a joke because I said, you know, because you were saying something when you were talking earlier about people listening at you and they think you're blowing smoke, you know. And I wrote a little funny in there. I hope they didn't think I was being sarcastic or anything. I say, okay, guys, Harry is blowing smoke again, but I put a LOL on there. Hopefully they didn't take that as personal, you know. But I was just being funny, you know. That's all. But appreciate the show, man. Appreciate what you're doing.
Salute. All right, old school. What you got, man? What's your final thoughts on today?
Well, I don't know, Harry. My final thoughts is like this: either you could be on the bandwagon or you could be on the island. Sometimes I feel as though I'm on the island. You know what I mean? But I'm with the program. See, my main thing is this: I'm with the program. Come hell or high waters, whether we sink or swim. I'm with the program. Yeah. But that bandwagon, you know, you can always jump off that bandwagon. You can't jump off the island, can you, Harry?
You said jump off. Oh, you said island. What are you saying?
You can't jump off the island because if you jump off the island, you ain't jumping in a number of waters, sharks, and you got to swim. But you can always get off that.
Oh well, yeah. No. Well, the idea. Remember, I've articulated in my bandwagon conversations that you start off being a bandwagon, and then something either makes you or helps you to fall in love with the team. You'll find a reason to stick around because a lot of people weren't Chicago Bulls fans, right? A lot of people weren't Cleveland Cavalier fans. Mm-hmm. But after LeBron leaves, after Jordan leaves, or after your favorite player leaves, something gets you to stick around. You keep watching for some reason, you know, whether it's just their tenacity, whether it's just their fight in them, or something will help you to stick around. And that's why I make the videos that I make, introducing you to, like, you know, Rick George. If you like Rick George's story and how he got prime, and you know what I'm saying, if you like those type of stories, if you like, you'll fall in love with something. The fan base, something about this team you'll fall in love. So long when Coach Prime is not here, you'll still be a Colorado fan because you fell in love with something. So
yep, them the ones. Yeah, the Colorado fans are the ones, to a certain extent. The Colorado fans are the ones that's out there on that island, you know. And then the rest, you know, like the Coach Prime, you know, fans and stuff like that. You know, they cool with Prime wherever you go, like you used to be in the old days. I understand that.
So, yeah.
What about the what? Hey, Harry, but what about the ones that go stay stuck out on the island where Coach Prime go? Maybe Coach Prime might be like I said before, be athletic director there for the next 10 years. I'm praying for that, but we already know he ain't gonna be running up and down that field like that, over here or over somewhere else, like that in the beginning of this year. So.
Well, Coach Prime got his, you know, he's 8 toes down, so he ain't gonna be doing much running. Sometimes he might have to sit down because his foot starts to hurt. So, but Prime Effect 101 says, I'm interested in TLP Sports take on Saban speaking to Congress about how the transfer portal, NIL, and collective is hurting the players' development. I guess I can wait for the next show. Roland Martin had a special on this, and I watched that special. And Prime Effect sent me some breakdowns on that. But Roland Martin had a special where he went in, and I mean, Roland Martin is a very smart man. He's very astute. He understands sports because obviously he worked with one of the college teams. He understands the idea that colleges have been paying. When I was listening to Saban, I'm like, Is he being for real, or is somebody telling him to say this? Is somebody paying him to say this? Because I'm like, if you really think about it, bro, like the best teams in college football have been paying those students for a minute, and y'all had an advantage for a minute. Now
Yeah.
that things are spreading out a little bit, now you're saying like, oh, that's an issue. So I don't really, you know what I'm saying? I think he's either being genuine. He's either being genuine from a privileged position, and I'm not talking about white privilege, from just the fact that he was privileged enough to have to would you guys say that he inherited
Hey,
he inherited a legacy team, or did he build that team? Did he build
he
Alabama?
inherited. He inherited, but he built it too. Hey, but Harry, let me go with this stuff with that what you talking about like that. It ain't really too much like, okay, I was told, this is what I was told, and then I kind of realized it too. He wasn't really getting off into the what's the name thing, the NIL part of it. You understand me? He was getting off into that transport portal part of it. He didn't too much like that. That's what I was told. I don't know for sure, but that's what I was told when that conversation was took place about that. He didn't like
Well, no,
that crazy.
I listened to his whole speech. I mean, he talked on a few points, and I mean, he made some points as far as like, you know, he brought in his wife saying, you know, a lot of the kids, excuse me, he brought in his wife saying like, you know, they used to invite the kids to dinner and stuff like that. And they talked about development, but nowadays the kids are mostly talking about how much they're going to get paid.
Yeah.
So,
Well,
And that was at that point, that was the point where he just kind of like he started talking to him. He decided for himself, like, you know what, this is a big of a red flag for me. I don't know that that's genuine.
well,
Because
I think it is, Harry.
well, the reason why I don't think it's genuine is because of this. I don't think Nick Saban is naive in thinking that he got all of those players, those top players, for free. I don't think
oh,
he's naive to think. I think he's aware that a lot of those players he got because somebody paid them.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get all of those top players just because you're Nick Saban. I don't. If you look
you
at
got to give
Bill
Alabama.
Belichick,
Hey, playing for the University of Alabama ain't no cakewalk, is it?
well, that's why I asked the question: did he inherit that school, the team, or the players,
It
or did
had
he
the
build it?
school or the name.
I don't know the
The
history of.
school or the name.
Here's what I believe. Here's what I believe.
I don't
What
know the
happened.
history of. I don't know the history of Alabama and how good they were when they started inheriting or when they started getting all of those top players. Obviously, winning has a lot to do with that, but I don't know. I haven't done enough enough research to know whether he brought in a lot of those players, or those players, or the school already had a winning history
Dang.
he
Yes.
inherited,
Yeah.
and then he continued to win with them. So I don't
Right.
know.
I believe. I
And the
believe.
main thing was he kept quiet while those boosters and everything else was taking care of everything in the back channel.
Right,
But
and that's why I say I
but
don't know if
guys,
it's genuine. If it's not, how genuine is it, knowing that you got a bunch of good, really good players because y'all have money because of your winning history? How genuine is it that to now say, you know, a
yeah,
lot of the
but here's what he's not saying, Harry. How can I say this without sounding racist? I'm
just say it.
I'm gonna say it anyway. He started something that people like him. I mean, they started something that gotten out of control. The whole thing was designed. They had players come into the big. They wanted to get the big players, and the better players are African Americans, and so they had to get them there some kind of way. But the NCAA had the rule: they can only get scholarships, but then the scholarships weren't enough for the kids to do what they needed to do. So that's why they've got this thing going on now. But what has happened, and I gave you the short version of it, what has happened is gotten out of control now. And so they're trying to find a way, even with the transfer portal. I mean, all of it's gotten out of control. And it's something the players didn't start, but the players gotta now, pay the price for it. They didn't sort this. You know, none of them were in control. Whoa, were in control of anything. But now it's gotten out of hand to where they're taking it to Congress with something that they started, and the coaches in the schools, all of them are involved. They started years ago. Now it's gotten out of hand, and
I don't
everybody's
know.
trying to cover.
I don't agree with the whole thing of it gotten out of hand. I don't know about it got. Ain't nothing
Well,
gotten
if
out of hand. The kids just
But
want
if you
their
look
money.
at the beginning,
That's
you
not
got to
getting out of
look at
hand.
how it got started, though.
Right.
If you don't understand how it got started, then
What do you
what's
mean? How
happening right
it
now?
got started? How what got started?
Pay
The
attention.
NIL?
Let in both NIL
Well, yeah, NIL got started because there was a lawsuit. First of all, NIL got started. NIL has been talked about for years. They've been trying to get NIL for what you say?
It goes deeper. That's what I'm trying to tell you. It goes deeper.
Well,
Yeah.
whether or not it goes deeper, what I'm saying is NIL has been talked about for years, right?
Yeah.
The students and the students and the whole Fab Five with Juwan Howard and and they've been talking about NIL for a long time. But as far as like how it got started, it started with a lawsuit. All right, it started with a lawsuit, and then they came to the table and started talking. So I don't know that it's out of hand. I don't think that it's out of hand. I just think they need to figure out. They need to figure out how they want this to go. It's not. You got to figure out how you want this to go. It's not out of hand because if the players are going to ask for their money, then give them their money. It's as simple as that. They want the money. If you want the player, give them the money. That's what you do in professional sports. Give them the money.
Okay, Harry, let me add something to that. I'm a former basketball player. I went to Howard Payne University. I went there as a freshman. They didn't recruit me. I walked on. I went to Howard Payne, walked on as a walk-on, and made the team. Okay? I didn't get, back then, when I played, I didn't get any NIL money. There was, I was,
You
I
was a
was,
walk-on.
I
What are
was,
you talking about? How can
I
you
was-
even compare yourself to a Travis Hunter?
because
You a
he
walk-on.
he didn't recruit me. I mean, I wasn't recruited.
But you a
I wa-
walk-on.
But I was a good
The
player. I
NIL we
mean,
talking about. The NIL we talking about is for dogs, not
exactly.
walk-ons.
No, but I made the team. I was a good
So?
player. I
So
made the player.
you know
But
how
only
many good players there are in college?
What I'm talking about back then, back in the days.
Yeah, but I'm making your point. The point is the top players, right? You're using they're not using walk-ons to
So
sell
you-
jerseys.
So
They're
you're
not
saying
using walk-ons to sell tickets to the stadiums. They're using the top dogs to sell. You use Shador, you use Shiloh, and you use who's always in these interviews? Who's always saying those three, right? Shiloh, Shador, and Travis.
You saying I couldn't be a top dog because they didn't
I'm
recruit
saying you
me?
were in the top dog because you just told me that you walked on.
I was a
If
walk-
you
that
were a
doesn't
top
mean-
dog, you wouldn't have to walk
That
on.
wasn't me. Now that didn't mean I was a. Oh, I walked on.
But
because
I'm
I
talking about the facts. I'm not saying you in your head you weren't the best player ever to walk the earth. I'm not saying in your head it wasn't. I'm just talking about what you told me. But this is what I'm saying: the idea of the NIL. When you got Travis Hunter selling out tickets, when you got the school making millions off of his name, Shador's name, Shiloh's name, and those players are not recouping some of that money, right? Then that's what the argument was. But there's a secondary argument where I think the point where you would start agreeing with Nick Saban, where you would say, but now we got the secondary guys like you. You're saying, well, I ain't getting no money, right? You're starting to make that argument too, where they're like, it's now becoming it's infusing the sport where guys that are not top dogs are saying, I want some money too, where the fingers are being pointed, where guys are.
That's not where I'm going with that. You got me
No.
wrong. That's
I'm
not
saying
where
where
I'm going.
Saban is trying to say, there are guys. I'm saying Saban is saying that we understand the top dogs, but there are guys that are not top dogs, guys that are second string, thinking that they should get some money too. That's where the collectives comes in, where the collectives will say, okay, boom, 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 boom. But at the end of the day, you can't compare yourself or a walk-on like Charlie Offerdo to a Travis Hunter when it comes to ticket sales. You're not selling tickets off of a Charlie Offerdo. You're selling tickets off of Travis Hunter.
But you're talking about it as it is now. What I'm trying to explain to you, my friend, is how all of this mess got started right now. How it got started.
NIL started with the lawsuits. That's what I'm telling you.
No, it didn't start with no lawsuit. It started way before that. And you're gonna have to research
the
whole
conversation. I'm
thing.
saying NIL. Yeah. I'm not talking about the talk. You saying how did it get started? I'm talking about how NIL started. If that's the question, I'm not talking about how the talk got started. I said NIL got started because of a lawsuit. NIL. But if you're talking about how the mess got started, that we're not talking about the mess. We're talking about NIL, right?
But in order to understand the mess, even to understand what Saban was talking about, you have to be in that. You have to grow up in that time. But by me being a farmer, listen, me being a farmer,
if you can read, you ain't got to grow up. Nothing.
But everybody's not going to do that. Me being a former athlete,
I can read. I don't have to grow
up.
Listen,
you're very smart. You're a very intelligent young man.
Hey, Harry,
but listen, but me being
what do they do with the money? What do they do with the money that the collectors be doing with? What is that? That's not the NIL. What is that?
The collectives, it is NIL. They share it. They try to make things even for some of the players.
But I thought the NILs was like when they get you commercial deals, like Zenith or Pepsi Cola or Coca-Cola. The rest of them wants to do a business with you and all that. You understand me?
Yeah. You got your major.
Well, okay, this is my question. My question goes to this right here. Then I ask this again. Who controls that money to play? Okay, like with Alabama, them linemen and stuff. They ain't in no commercials or nothing, but they getting paid a real good have some little money. Who gives them that? Do that come out the NIL?
So I got a video called NIL on the site. When we get offline, you can go watch it, and it explains everything about NIL. It breaks it down from top all the way to bottom. I got that video. I've been made that, but I didn't want to cut Tennis Channel off. You kind of cut him off, but
I'm sorry.
I wanted him to finish his thought. But NIL in its simplest form is just like anything that you see in professional sports where the brands want to do business with the top dogs, right? So if Nike wanted to do business with Travis Hunter, they can do an NIL deal and say, we're going to give you X amount of dollars, right? And then he has the responsibility to do whatever they're asking or whatever that is. Now, the schools got the collectives, and the collectives where individuals like you, myself, small businesses that can throw money into this collective to help the schools to make the thing a little easier for other players. So if you let's just say you want to send $50 to the I don't know, I forget the 533 or something like that for 534 or something like that for CU. You can throw that $50 in there, and you can earmark that money. You can say, I want this money to go to Charlie Offerdo, or I want $35 of my $50 to go to Charlie Offerdo, and the school or the collective would send them that money.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how the collectives are there to help the little guys that are not getting those big deals. Go ahead, Tennis Channel. Finish your thoughts so we can go ahead and get up out of here.
All right. The only thing I was saying, a story has a beginning, a middle, and an end. Right now, this story here, we're right in the middle of it. Okay. What you're talking about, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with any of it at this point, because we're right in the middle of it. Only thing I was mentioning, and you should cause me to be more and more inquisitive. I'm going to do more research on it, on how it all got started. By me being a former athlete, college student, going to college, and I went on scholarship and everything, it's gonna help me understand, and I do understand it. Just can't explain it all right now, but understand where it came from, where it is now, but nobody knows where it's headed. That's
where
including
where came from? What are you saying? Where
Why they
came
came?
from?
NIL, and the transfer portal.
Yep.
There was no transfer portal when I went to school.
Right.
But what do you mean where it came from? Like, what do you mean?
Where it all began? That you got to remember, everything in life has a beginning. Everything starts from
That's
somewhere.
why I'm asking. I get it. I understand that
Okay.
concept. I'm saying, what do you mean though? What's under the question? What's the seedbed of that question? Because
What I
obviously
want,
the
yeah.
facts are the facts, right? We know what
Exactly.
time we know when NIL started. We know why the NIL is an issue, right? I don't think that's what you're asking because you're too
He
smart
asked
for
him,
that.
why did it start?
No, if you want to understand where we are right now, you have to go back to the beginning to find out where it got started.
But that's what I'm hung up on. But I don't know.
Yeah,
I know you know why.
Yeah. So
Well, okay.
I'm not interested in right now. I don't care about right now.
No, I'm saying like the simple answer to that would be because obviously if somebody's using your name and you're the top dog, right? You want to get some with it, right?
I agree.
So that would be the simple answer. But that's why I'm asking you. That's why I'm not trying to just simplify whatever you're thinking. That's why I said what's behind your question, because we know that's the simple reason.
Okay, so if it's simple and you understand it right now, what's happening right now, and why they're doing it right now, you need to understand, because like I said, when I was going to school, there was no portal and there was no NIL. So there was something going on for them to set that up like that to where it all's headed right now. There was something going on that they were not
so
doing.
You were just okay.
Makes
This
sense?
is the answer. The answer is the universities were capitalizing off. Okay, the university, like you got to go back on and listen to the Roland Martin breaks it down a little bit. So go to Roland Martin. He has a video on that. But the simple answer is this. I thought it was a little bit more deeper than you were trying to seek. But the simple answer is this. The universities, the schools, the coaches were capitalizing off of these young men. So a lot of parents and the players, they started, the conversation started with that. Like, how are they making millions, but we can't make no money? And then sometimes some of these star players will get hurt. Some of them did not even smell the NFL or the NBA or nothing, right? So players that, people were making millions off of jersey sales and all of these things, and the players were getting nothing. So the conversation started back then. Like I'm telling you, if you watch that NIL video, I explained everything in that video. But that's where I know you're thinking that there's some weird, there's this deep conversation that started it like Martin Luther King. There's nothing. It's as simple as getting paid.
Harry, had I not played college sports, I would kind of agree with you on that. But because I played college sports, because I was on scholarship and I still struggled with, I had a friend of mine, we'd go to the chicken shack. He'll take me to the chicken shack so we can eat. Or I didn't have a car. I had a friend of mine, he would let me use his car and do everything. One time I had to borrow from the coach. Now, back then it was illegal for them to give you any kind of money. And he said, we shouldn't tell anybody about this. He said, I had to borrow some money from the assistant coach to do some things that I wanted to do. That was one of my challenges. Okay. Now, I mean, so you see see the time, how things have changed.
But what's your point though? You said if I wasn't a college coach, then I would understand. But what is your point? Remember, I wasn't trying to downplay your mentality was versus what the reality of college sports is. Willie, the conversations the conversation we're talking about, Juwan Howard, Chris Webber,
I remember those guys.
Well, you were not having this conversation if you were not a top dog. I want you to please understand this. The top dogs, the guys that were selling the stadiums out, the guys that were selling those basketball stadiums out, the guys that were selling those all the jerseys and stuff. These guys were having those conversations. This is not no conversation. We're talking about something that it was, oh, everybody just wanted to get paid. It wasn't that. It was
Right.
the fact that a lot of these players were making a lot of money for these institutions, and they were not getting compensated for how popular they were. Like,
And that been going on for a long time.
and
Hey,
man, it's
man,
been going on for a very long time. So I don't know if your group were having that conversation, but there's no.
Oh yeah,
I
they
know.
were.
I don't know what
They
you're
were.
thinking, but that's. But yeah, but why would you think that there's something more to it than that?
hey, Harry,
Because
can I say?
Harry, because
Hey,
because
can I,
listen,
hey, can I say this right fast though? Just to the shadows goes along with what you said. Hey, Harry, okay, now speak at the time frame when this all came, when the NIL all that came about. Two things that happened before that already had came about. The NBA had already turned around. They had the D League at first, but then they turned around. They got the G League. The G League allowed you to come in 1 year after, or going straight. You ain't got to go to high school. I mean, go to college. You can go straight to the NBA, to the G League. They was doing that. They was doing that big. But the only thing what made the G League go into that decision was LeVar Ball did. He opened up that JBL league. And them JBLs came first, and they were ones getting paid. And them high schoolers was considering or thinking about that they had the chance and time to go do that, to go up into that frame. That's what changed everything around with the NIL and everything with college, because they couldn't compete with the NBA and they couldn't compete with what was going on. They was losing that talent, just like
Your information is a little off, old school.
my point is this. Just like
your information is all over the place.
my point, well, hold on. My point is this. Just like how college basketball is suffering now, college football can't get off into that same realm. That's the same realm that college football is getting off into right now. They're trying to save themselves because they want these young boys to go through school as long as they can to get that NIL money. That ain't gonna kill them.
Yeah,
But
but I don't.
you know,
I can't let it ride when you talking about LeVar Ball affecting NIL.
Hey, listen to me. Listen to me. See, you can laugh, but he opened up that JBL.
No, I mean, I know
Listen,
for a fact he did
listen.
not.
Evidently, you don't get it because I want you to understand this part. He made the NBA move to open up the G League. NBA already had the D League, and that was nothing. He was, by the fact what he was doing, the JBL was competing against the NBA. And they made made that decision real fast.
Yeah,
well, look, but back then when
LeVar Ball
go ahead, Harry.
LeVar Ball did not make NIL. Please, let's.
But it ain't saying that he made anything about no NIL. What he did, he changed the whole landscape. He had listen to me. And listen to me. You know, I'm gonna tell you something. What the NBA did with the G League, it hurt the college. It hurt the college. What's the name? College basketball right now to this day. Matter of fact, the Final Four is gonna come out. The Final Four is gonna come out, and you can care less because the lack of talent in the college in the NCAA. So you can let it be like that for a minute.
I mean, you're throwing up facts. You're throwing facts in between, like, conversation.
No, we ain't talking about in between conversations. We talking about the same time frame.
But it's not. The facts are not lining up.
Well, it lines up with the same time frame. It lines up with the same time.
You're saying a lot of good stuff, but it's not coherent. If I may.
When was the last time? Hey, Harry asked me this, and honestly, I answered it. When was the last time you watched the NCAA tournament after Lonzo left? When was the last time you watched?
But the conversation just moved to another thing.
What you did, since it moved, did you have?
What does that have to do with the NIL?
That's my point. Go ahead, Harry.
That's your point.
My point is when the interest, what brought about the NIL? The NIL is the fact that they had to compete against not the NFL, but they had to compete against the NBA and stuff like that.
No, I want you to lose that thought. No, it's absolutely not. That's like 1,000% incorrect.
Right.
I don't want you to stay. I don't want you to believe that or stay on that. Because it goes way back further than LeVar Ball. It goes too far back. That's why I said Juwan Howard, the Fab Five. You remember the Fab Five?
I remember
That's way
they had
before the.
they had shorts and they wanted to market they wares and all that other stuff.
All
Bucky
right,
did the same.
no,
Matter of
no,
fact,
but
Bucky
do
did
you
the
remember
same.
the Fab Five?
Bucky did the same thing. Bucky sued them so they can do this stuff. Bucky did the same thing. They and remember the one that played out
Are
there
you hear?
the one that played in
Are you hearing
Nevada.
me? Are
Yes,
you
the
hearing
one that
anything I'm
played
saying?
in Nevada. Hunt. What's his name? Greg Hunt. He did the basketball player. Did an LV. He did the same thing. He sued them so they could do that. I know that. It was a brother in Northwestern out there in Illinois did the same thing. I know that. But that did nothing happen with all that.
But
Didn't
no,
change.
but LaVar Ball is not connected to NIL. I want you to
What I'm
stop saying
saying.
that.
Okay,
Stop. Like, you gotta just cut it
what
out.
I'm saying is he
LaVar,
made the
NIL has
NBA
been
move.
happening for way. NIL talk has been happening way before those kids were born. So I want you to stop. Don't do that.
Wait for they was born.
Don't go on any show. Don't say that on any other show.
Look here. Hey, college bet. You right. The NCAA knew that they had a fish on the line. They knew they had a fish on the line when they said, "Look here, we shouldn't be paying people, these young guys, to be playing because that's immoral. And to a certain extent, that's not right." You understand me? It's something they're supposed to be doing. But then the university had people start looking at what 10 years, 100 years later. Wait, hold on. You guys got commercial deals, all these billions and millions of dollars. And these people still sitting up here stealing out of stores because they can't eat. You don't even want to, you give them a approval card for $100 a week. I mean, come on, man. I don't really know how it changed and why it changed.
All right, man. So let's yo, you know what you sound like, old school?
Man, come on, Harry, man. For real,
You
man.
sound like that crazy uncle that he got 3 points. He gonna get them all out, and he just gonna mix them all up like the.
And that's why I know I talk fast, but if you listen up, I don't have to slow down.
No, I know, but you're making good points. But I was trying to find the connection point, and then you just started changing it from. You started throwing other stuff in there. Yeah, it got crazy a little bit there. But man, listen, we had a great conversation. Great conversation. I just want to make sure that when we're talking about the like, I don't want you to repeat that on another show. Hey, Tennis Channel, you want to come back on? Tennis Channel? Tennis, you want to come back on? Because I got you. You got your video on.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Tennis want to come back on. Now he wants to show us his gray hair. But go ahead, Tennis.
No, I'm gonna take that off. That's
okay.
enough. Okay,
There
can
we
you
go.
hear me?
Yes,
I got locked up here, man. Some kind of way my computer fell over and.
Oh, you got to lower your volume.
Yeah, I'm turning everything down right now. Hold on, come on.
Or just close
Okay,
out
so-
that YouTube
Well,
channel.
I got the TV on now. Hold on. This thing is acting. Everything's acting crazy. But what I wanted to, yeah, good. What I wanted to say, you got me?
Yeah, I got you. This is the
right.
after. We already ended the show, guys. Just in case you didn't know, we
Okay.
already ended the other show. Now we just a Prime Effect 101 just kind of threw us a talking point, and we're just having a conversation. That's it.
So what
The show's over, Wild Dog. The show's been over. We're just talking about that issue that Prime Effect 101 brought up about Nick Saban and the NIL situation. But I will answer that question. Why is Nick Saban talking to the Congress? I'll give you my opinion on that in a second. But go ahead, Tennis. Go ahead, Willie.
Yeah. I mean, like what I was saying before, man, is like what I want to share really quick with you is the fact that back in the days when I was playing ball, there was a premium on black players, particularly players out of Louisiana. And so that's one reason why, the school didn't really go after me. Somebody took me up there, said, hey, we think you can make the team, blah, blah, blah. I went up there, made the team and everything. Now, back then, it wasn't given any kind of incentives except maybe you can get a scholarship. I was able to get that scholarship and good. But
After
there
you
were
made the
players.
team, how long did it take before you got your scholarship?
Oh, I got the scholarship right away.
Okay.
I got the scholarship right away. And so.
Were you a ticket seller? Were you a big ticket item?
Black was a big ticket item, particularly to an
I know that, but
all-white
I'm talking
school.
about you. I ain't talking about Black.
All-
Black wasn't just the only thing. You as a player, were you a hot ticket item?
Well, what do you mean a hot ticket item?
Which can you
I
they put
played
you on a flyer and you sell tickets? Can somebody say Willie's coming to the court today? Willie's gonna be playing tonight. Can you put butts in the seats?
You got to remember, I was a very, very good player. I would have made. I probably
But is
would
that a
have been
yes
a
or
hot.
no?
Listen,
I don't know what that means.
No, I would
Is
have
that
been
a
a
yes
hot
or
ticket
no?
player. But you got to remember, I'm just a freshman. How many freshmen are hot ticket items until you get out there and prove yourself, right?
Travis Hunter was a freshman. He could sell tickets. Cormani McLean was a freshman.
Travis Humphrey is a phenom. If we asked, was I a phenom? Was I Travis Hunter? No.
That's the point that I'm making.
No.
I want to know, what is the connection that you're trying to make me connect? What are you saying when you tell me Willie was a good player? What are you trying to connect me to understand?
Do you realize how hard it is or how difficult it is to make a college team? Back then, I could when
I
I
didn't
tried.
make it, so I understand how hard it is.
Listen,
I
when
definitely know how hard
when
it
I
is.
tried out, when I tried out for Howard Payne's team, I could out jump. There was a 6'6" guy, Terry the Helicopter David, and there was a 6'9" guy. When me and my buddy went up there, they put us against their two best players, and we made the team. I could just about almost out jump everybody there because I was a pretty good jumper. Jump. I was a good jumper, run fast.
You look better now than you look on that photo. I'm just gonna let you know you look better now than you look on this photo. You got this photo looks like an old guy that can barely swing no more. He wear Bengay on his elbows and he's trying to play tennis. You should change your photo.
Listen, my arms are covered up, man. That's my coaching stuff. That's not my playing stuff. That's not how I play.
Just saying, you know how people say that photos are worth 1,000 words.
That's my coaching gear.
Old and Bengay.
That's my coaching gear right there. And you're right about the Bengay, brother. I use a lot of that. Oh yeah, but it makes you feel better.
Oh yeah, sure do.
It makes you tell them old school that Bengay makes you feel a whole lot better.
Oh man.
Yeah, make you forget about it for a little while.
No, to be serious though. I want to get the point that you're trying to make, because you've been trying to drive this home, this whole conversation. You keep coming back to you being a player. What are you trying to get me to understand?
Only thing
about NIL, about you being a good player in NIL. Please make me understand.
Number one, back then it was different. The whole college thing was different. Okay. Back then we played defense. The suckers these days don't play no defense. They just show up and shoot. Why do you think they're gonna score 200 points? But that's another story.
I'm about to say, like, connect. I'm asking for the connection here.
That was another story. But when I hear him talk today, and it's the players are a lot different. Harry, I played because I love the game. I played out of pride, man. I love the game, and that was my reason for playing. They didn't have to give me any money. Okay. I was gonna play because I love the game. That was my mentality. So fast forward into the day, that's how I can understand what's happening today and understand the root of where it came from, because I started when it wasn't there. Now I'm a little bit older, and I see what a guy, same athlete, doing the same drills almost, the same thing, running up and down the floor, running up and down the field. It's different today. But what caused it to be different, it was a lot of other things that I'm not going to even go into, that the bigger schools were trying to cover up. They were trying to cover up the players playing and not getting money. I don't know where it came up at, where, the NIL. I have no idea when NIL first got started, but it was something about, somebody said, like you were saying, now I'm going to come to back where you were saying that the schools were getting the recognition and the players wasn't getting any money. I can agree with that, because the schools were making more money. You were using these players, and they were bringing in all the money, and it wasn't giving the kid. They give the kid a mere scholarship, but there was more. That scholarship didn't feed you when you was hungry at night.
Can you see Prime Effect's comment on the screen?
Yeah, I read it.
I'm still I'm just gonna keep it a buck, keep it all the way 1,000, keep it funky, right? I'm not finding the connection you were making, but I'm trying to see there's some type of solace that Prime Effect maybe understood what you were saying, and Prime Effect says that's because college players didn't understand their worth back then. Is there a connection between what she's saying and what you're saying?
Sure, yeah.
Oh,
They
okay.
didn't, because the schools used us. They used us,
okay.
but we didn't. But listen, we didn't know we were being used.
So okay, so you're telling me is that the vein that you were speaking in, that you guys were not aware of whether you wanted to be paid or not, or is that what?
Yeah, listen. Unless they gave if they gave us a scholarship, we were happy because they paid for my education.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know that's where you were going with it.
However, but I was still going to the dorm at night hungry. Had a friend, like I'll tell you about a friend of mine. We used to go to the chicken place. He'd buy some chicken and stuff. And so that was some of the challenges. And so that's why the players started saying, "Look," and even Prime have said this. Look, why can I'm on scholarship, yeah, or whatever, but I'm going to my dormitory hungry at night. Man, that's been around for years. They didn't really care unless you. And like I remember I was saying about the coach, I had to go to the coach and borrow some money so I can get something to eat. But legally, he was not supposed to give me any money.
Right.
And he knew I was hungry.
Yeah. So I get what you were. Okay, I guess I kind of understand what angle you were coming at with it. So yeah, just like Peter Investor is saying, like they've been getting. I think football in America, I'm not sure if it's basketball, but I think football, because it's big. Football is probably bigger than basketball as far as a fan base and money, generating money for for institutions is concerned. Don't hold me on that as far as the data is concerned. Don't hold me on that, but I think football is, right? So football has been generating millions and millions of dollars for these institutions for years, and they've been using that money to build buildings. They've been using that money to get better coaches. They've been using that money to get to just make the university a much better. So I cannot tell you which year and which player said what and started that conversation, but players started understanding, like you know what I'm saying, like, y'all gonna have to give us some of this money, like, what's up? So just to put it in simpler terms. But I think that's what started happening, and people started understanding, like, do we get a low sum? This scholarship is not enough. Like, I'm going hungry while you guys are making millions. I'm going to study I'm going over to study hall. When I leave study hall, all of the food joints are closed, so I'm going hungry, but yet I'm still being sold. My name is on the bill, and I'm selling these stadiums out. But yet the coaches are making millions, the school's making millions of dollars, and we're not getting nothing. So that's what
going to bed hungry at night and being the first one in the breakfast line in the morning.
Yeah, that one was tough.
You remember that old school? Old school remembers it.
That part of the story, touches a core that I think a lot of people need to understand. But if you're listening, you're watching after the live stream, and you're watching it restream, I have a video about the NIL, and it's a really good video. It's well put together. Just go watch the NIL. You can if you go to my YouTube channel, just Google it, or just not Google it, but search it. NIL. What is NIL? And it tells the story. Like, I go from the top all the way to the bottom, and when we got NIL. So, all right, old school guys. I got two old school guys on here messing with my brain. I'm like, what are we talking about again? Like, I'm glad somebody understood you and it was able to help this conversation out because I was lost for at least 30 minutes. So Prime Effect 101, thank you so much for understanding what Tennis Channel was trying to share with us. Tennis, you were not elite. You were good, but you were not a Travis Hunter. Okay, understand
Hey,
that.
I would have been. Hey, I would have been.
Oh,
Hey,
it's just one of these shows on another show. We're gonna have to dig into that because I don't understand when you say I would have been. Where's that? What do you mean I would have been?
because I was turned. I was kind of a dog. I wasn't a full grown dog yet. My freshman year.
When you say I would have been, what caused you not to be?
Well, I mean, I would have been. Let me put it to you that way. But the only thing that stopped me is that I got derailed, man. That's another story. I got
The white
derailed.
man.
I had a
Let's
goal.
blame the
I
white
had a
man?
vision. Huh? I didn't say
The
that.
white man? Was it the white man?
You said that. I didn't say that.
No, but are we saying the white man? Are you blaming the white man?
I said this. He didn't help me any, okay? He provided the scholarship, but he didn't help me any, brother. It was you got to remember, this was back in the days when racism. I'm gonna tell you.
Hey, remember when you said this is therapy for you? This is a good conversation. I love this.
I'm gonna date myself here a little bit. This was back in 1975, 76, when the racial war and the racial disparity in this country.
So it is the white. I was joking, but it is the white man.
Hey, look, it was tough, man. It was tough. That's why back then it was a premium on black players because black players were the better athletes. Me coming out of New Orleans, I was a big name for the school. Just me coming on as a walk-on, I had this big write-up about me, in the school brochure. I could go back and read it. I sent copies of it to my back home and everything. This big write-up, has great potential, from New Orleans, Louisiana. They give you the big build up and everything. So yeah, it was what it was.
Okay, so here's some random facts. Peter Investor and Prime Effect are out there. They're still sharing out here. So in business is called profit sharing. Okay, so Peter Investor said in business is called profit sharing and revenue sharing in the collective bargaining agreement between players and owners. And then Prime Effect 101 says football averages 31.9 million and basketball 8.1 million per school. So football,
a lot of money.
Basketball may be global, but football as a whole, I think from a fan's perspective and a fan base, I don't know that anything is bigger than football as far as like generating money. So yeah, so good information, good stuff. Prime Effect, good stuff right there. So yeah, so
thank you, sir.
So football generates more money for the schools. And yes, Roland does talk about black players being the majority guys that are used in, to sell these tickets. So he did make that alignment, saying that, now that these black players are getting paid and stuff like that. I'm not taking the racial route. I'm just going to skirt around that. But you know what I'm saying? I mean, he made some good points to that effect. I don't want to take words out of his mouth. You can go to his channel and watch the video. But I think there's a bigger conversation to be had when it comes to why Nick Saban is going to, maybe it is a racial thing. Maybe it is. Maybe you get more black players. You get more black players making more money. Maybe it speaks volumes to the white players that are not as good and not getting that much money. Maybe that has some type of effect on, it could in a sense diminish how white players approach the game, and it may discourage them.
Listen.
We might want to talk about, you can't exclude racial. Well, Old Man 33 said you can't exclude racial routes. Maybe it has an effect on, you already have a small group of white players, and now you're paying the top players who are majority black. Maybe that has an effect on the white players. I don't know.
Listen,
Maybe
listen,
if y'all
listen.
want to talk about this, we can do a whole other
Okay.
show. But it's 10 o'clock on
Okay,
the
but
East Coast. I gotta go.
let me add to what you're saying, my brother, with eyes wide shut. All you have to do is look at Colorado's team. Just look at Colorado's team. That's all you got to do. Just look at Colorado's team and see where the premium is in their football team. The premium.
Well, I mean, there's no
players are
secret that the premium players are black, but that's on every single team. That's not a secret. That this is the argument.
I'm talking with the one right in front of you here. Oh, CU. Look at CU, and you can pretty much judge all of the other what the mindset.
No, but that is the general argument. It's not a secret that football is predominantly black, and the elite players are black.
Mhm.
So that's not nothing we have to even look at CU, and that's not a Coach Prime thing. I don't want nobody to even think that that's a fact. All right, but does that? I guess the question that we can deal with on another show, because it's after 10 o'clock and I gotta go and my mouth is starting to hurt. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take my ibuprofen.
Okay,
but is it affecting white recruitment? Is NIL affecting white recruitment from the coach's side as well as the player side? Primarily the player side. Is it affecting white players? And if it is, then that explains Congress. Because if NIL is affecting the white players, then you can just close the book and just say that's why Congress is happening.
Was that a racial statement? Because Congress is predominantly white, huh?
No. I'm saying that taking the argument to Congress, it has an undertone. But what's the undertone? What is the undertone? Mike Lowry, I miss you, brother. Where you been? I've been defending you to the death, brother. Mike Lowry, Coach Mike. I defended you I've lost members defending you, brother. I've been holding you down. I just want you to know I've been holding you down, and I will promote free speech on this channel. I will defend free speech on this channel as long as it's respectful and it's not demeaning. I will defend free speech, freedom of speech, and freedom of choice, freedom of opinion. All right, I would do that even to the detriment of my channel. I just want to know that, brother.
Mike Lowry,
what you say, what you do, I respect you, because I can push back, and when you know when I'm right, and if I'm wrong, you tell me I'm wrong. But I just want to let you know that I didn't run you off this channel, and I didn't let nobody run you off, so I don't want you to feel that way.
Here's what's happening. Here's what happened. Mike Lowry got a tiger by the tail. That's as nice as I can put it. He done grabbed the tiger by the tail.
Y'all be on other channels having your conversations, and I'm not in on your your inside jokes, because y'all been having some inside jokes, and I don't watch the other channels and what y'all be talking about, so I'm gonna leave that alone. I know exactly what you're saying, and y'all know what you're talking about, but I don't. So
I know. I listen. I hear him. I don't jump on, but I hear him. I hear what they're saying over there. But Mike just grabbed the tiger by the tail, and Mike don't want to let it go. And look, get that tiger. You got my tail.
I'm not grabbing nothing. I'm gonna have to pause y'all back and forth. I'm not grabbing nothing. Nah, okay, that's getting out of hand. I'm gonna let y'all talk about that on another show. Hey, Free for All Friday is coming. Mike, hey, Coach Lowry, I want you on Free for All Friday. I'm asking you personally to come on Free for All Friday. We got a lot of breakdowns to do, and I've been missing your voice. And Wild Dog, I want you on Free for All Friday, because by Friday we would have had a whole week, 5 days of practice. Mike, what you mean? You want me up there, man? What you think? You think I lost all of those people who were so-called were so upset, but they've been supporting Cat Williams, and they go on other channels and they talk real messy. You think I listen to those people? I say those people can go anytime. I don't care, man. I know people get messy and they go support that, but you know what? Listen, you didn't say anything on this channel that I feel like was so detrimental that they got so upset. It was all up in arms and stuff. And then I go see them in other chat rooms having messy conversation. Brother, you already know how I am. I'm 10 toes down and I'm 100% human. I'm 100%, 1000% real. And I don't like hypocrisy. I don't deal with hypocrisy. If you want to go because you thought somebody was messy, then go. But don't say it's because you guys are being so messy and then you're supporting other messy conversations in other chat rooms. That's hypocrisy, and I don't deal with that. But anyway, I don't want to upset nobody else. Wild Dog, I want you to come on. Tennis, I know you're gonna be out here, so I'm not inviting you. Wild Dog and Coach Mike, I want y'all on. I can't wait to get Prime back on this Prime Effect 101 back on the microphone. So hopefully, you're welcome, Mike Lowry. So Prime Effect 101, whenever you get a free day, I want you to get back on the show. But we got Free for All Friday. Free for All Fridays, we gotta talk in details on these players. I was getting surgery on Friday, so we had to run things through. But Friday, I want to go over these players because I feel like there's still people out there that don't really understand these players and why they should be starting or not starting. Mm-hmm. And I want to talk about that on Friday. That's Free for All Friday. I'll see you guys at 12 o'clock on Friday. That's on the East Coast time. That'll be 9 a.m. on the West Coast. All right, guys. Y'all have a great night, man. I'll talk to y'all later. I'll see y'all on Friday.
Good job, Harry. Later, man.
Old School, thank you for chiming in, man. Thank you for calling in. Willie, and I appreciate you and I respect the heck out of y'all. Y'all take care.
Okay, good job. Old School, wake up.
Old School got that baby middle finger.
That's
what he's giving us right now. Good night, guys. I'm out of here.
Good night.
All right.